Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drop Pod. It's been a while. On this episode, I have.
Oh, hi. I'm Malistrom or Austin.
We're gonna have to cut this one out.
I think you need to introduce me more.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
What?
have to cut that
Because
one out.
you're like just introduce yourself. I
You think I'm not gonna leave this in right now? Is that what you think?
Oh, now we're not cutting it.
I was doing it in jest.
I've been on the YouTubes for a while, a long while, or at least I started there. I currently stream on Twitch
Where
and
can they
the
find you?
likes.
Let's just show you out at the beginning of the show. Let's just. Where can they find you? What's all your stuff? Plug everything.
Uh, well, you can go to my SoundCloud. That'll be Malistrom15. Go to my Facebook page at nope.
Okay, all right. He has a
I'm
Twitter.
I'm on Twitch.
He has a.
Malistrom, Malasstrome.
You have a Twitter.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have
but
Twitter as well.
you have an Instagram.
I do not have an Instagram,
You have a
but
SoundCloud.
I do have a SoundCloud I used for voice work a long while ago.
Oh, interessant. Might have to
Yeah,
dive into that.
I don't really use it anymore though, and like all that's fairly old, I'd say at this point.
Mala and I go back quite a ways. Not in any like
Real life
gung
capacity.
ho capacity, really. Not like we've been in a war together or some shit. But I had met Mala through happenstance on a YouTube video, where I was trying to play Cry of Fear. I don't really know what happened after that. I just know we started hanging. I don't really.
I think it was. I feel like it was a matter of like there was a co-op thing, and you're like, "Hey, you want to play?" That's what you sound like. "Hey, you want to play?" And I was like, "Ah, sure," because I was like 13, 14 maybe at the time. I was like, "Yeah, sure," and then we played. I think Steven might have been there too.
Steven might have been there. Maybe he was there for another project.
But yeah, it just we lost contact for a fair couple of years though. Just a matter of at least in my case, I was just busy and uh just focusing on myself. I
Careless.
kind of I kind of I lamented on this on Twitter the other week, but I kind of feel like I in 2017ish I kind of dropped a lot of friendships just in a matter of I was more focused on myself, and I wasn't really in a great place. But I'm trying to kind of reconnect with some of my
I feel that, man.
friends.
Yeah, it's like when you're like an internet personality, you kind of just like take a hard look at all of your relationships, and
Mhm.
you're like, wow, holy shit. Probably reconnect with some people. Should
Yeah.
probably pick up the call on some of these guys that have been calling.
Well, not even that. Just we both go our kind of separate ways. Just
Yeah.
do our own thing.
Well, I mean, yeah. But I'm
Like
back in black.
I wouldn't say I deliberately ignored anybody.
No. No, it's just some people do some different stuff, and depending on where those roads go, they may cross at some points.
Yeah.
Others, they're like, I'm gonna just keep going this road. And you're like, all right, feller.
It's funny enough. I think it was actually Michael joining your server uh, that kind of resparked. I feel that resparked our. We're talking much more often now than we did in previous years.
I forget how Michael happened by the server.
I mean, you're on my server, So it was probably through there. I'm not sure what game specifically.
I think me and Michael were like hardcore Minecraft streamers, and he this is a joke for the audience, by the way, but forget it. Forget it. I'm cutting this. Forget it. I have a better topic for you, though.
Okay.
So we are at the end of our rope.
Yes. Is this the end of the podcast already?
Yes.
All right. Good. That was a pretty good one.
We are at the end of our rope for 2020.
Yes.
The year has come and gone. There's been some crazy things that we won't get into. But what has been really crazy is all these games, huh? Are you nervous, Mala? Like I have to ask you.
About what?
Really nervous right now.
I'm fine.
I'm just making sure. We'll have more on this development in a moment. So I thought it would be fun to talk to you about all of the best games of the year. There's been quite a few of them, even though this year has been kind of crazy for game development.
Yeah. Between people having to work at home and just emails are tricky. I can't imagine how much easier it is sending like game files and bug checking through emails.
Oh yeah. It's really interesting to see on folks that operate a live game like Warframe and watching them trying to pick up the pieces while still trying to keep the game active while simultaneously working from home. It's interesting to see how they're operating it. I have not played Warframe I have not played Warframe basically at all this year, but
I was gonna say, did they really have much of a lull in their content this year? Not that I would know.
They were in a deficit. In fact, at the beginning of the year, like the community was basically in uproar about how they've been handling the game, and it took some real elbow grease to like basically take it on the chin and just say, yeah, we messed up. Yeah. Right. Game's not in a good spot. Just everybody be patient. And when I heard that, I was like, that's really rough. The fact that you have to tell your community, like, all right, guys, we get it, but just
I honestly respect that. Them actually admitting they're not doing great, because you have so many companies nowadays, like even with the recent Cyberpunk release, where it's obfuscated by just, oh well, this didn't go so right, but we're trying, and oh, we're sorry we didn't show last gen console trailers. We probably should have done that before releasing it. So I appreciate the honesty. It's like, even as shit as the situation could be, it's better just to be straightforward about it rather than trying to just try to hide what the issue is.
Yeah, precisely. It's especially now in our current climate of what's happening, I think it's like it's better than ever just to come clean and just like say, yeah, we're messing up here for sure. Like this is what's happening. We are really not kicking ass out there. What I have for you right now, though, I am going to basically give you a game. These are the best of categories. We're going to start from best VR game, which I don't know if you...
I can have my opinion, I guess, of what I thought was.
Okay. So this is the best virtual reality game of the year. What do you think it is?
Now, is this objectively or subjectively?
We'll go objectively.
Objectively? I want to say a lot of people will probably say Half-Life Alyx, just because Valve finally made something again.
They put out.
Yeah. It's been like how many years since their last game? I guess since what since the last Half-Life episode was probably the last game they released that wasn't like, content updates for like TF2. Sorry, that's a funny joke.
Well, Dota released in like 2010, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What did it? Was that like 2008 episode 2 released, or
Yeah.
was it like early 2010?
I think it was 08, but I was thinking it was like 06. Which that can't be right, because 06...
2007.
Yeah, okay. I remember 08 fondly for Steam back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not where it was at. It's definitely not like the Steam we know nowadays. But the best VR game happened to be Half-Life Alyx. I am still playing through this game. From what I am playing, I think this game is really good. I really enjoy the fact that the spectator mode in the game, meaning somebody can walk into your room, see that you're in VR, but they're looking at your monitor from a from a third eye, basically, and they're just kind of watching you go around. They can see what you have in your inventory. Yeah. So like it makes it pretty cool to like watch in a way, but then like the gameplay itself is really fun, and it's good that they basically thought of everything. Do you want to play it basically with locomotion involved where you're actually moving around, or do you want to play it from a seating position for those that just want to play seated or have accessibility issues? I think that's really good that they thought of all that. It's super immersive. Most of the environment so far you can interact with. It still has its Half-Life moments where it's like you're shooting things, but then all of a sudden comedy's like interjected.
Right.
And I think that game was really good.
It's a shame that they replaced the voice actress for Alyx. I think, I don't know. It's kind
of think they did.
No, they did. They definitely did. They casted somebody younger.
Merle Dandridge. Sorry, Merle Dandridge. She's still. Oh no. Okay, I see.
And like I understand casting. Tell. I understand casting somebody different for the role, because it's kind of a younger Alyx. But I hope it's just in that case and not a matter of they just didn't want to use the original actress again. Yeah, I'm surprised you couldn't tell. It's like I could tell like almost immediately.
You know, the problem is they use Merle for Dota. She voice acts Legion Commander, who's one of the heroes in the game, and I think she voices another hero.
Oh.
So they still use her for Dota bits. I'm surprised they didn't use her for Alyx. Maybe, I don't think she would have to do anything like game-wise, not like have to strap on any weird tech to capture motion or anything, but
yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't use her. That's interessant.
No, I'm pretty happy they got Gordon's voice actor back. He does a fantastic job every game.
Yes, Gordon's voice. I mean, probably one of the best in gaming.
Honestly, yeah. I was gonna suggest. I've heard a lot about Boneworks, but I guess that released December 10th, 2019. So that's not really this year.
Boneworks. But I feel like
I heard a lot of good things about it. I haven't really seen much of it, but
it looks really good. I have it. I have not played it yet because Boneworks requires you to have a better understanding of how like VR space works.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't want somebody that's like really new or just like really green to like get in there and go, because there's like so many new concepts in VR that they're trying to use in Boneworks, and it's like you could feel out of place.
This is the hardcore version of VR.
Basically.
Well, what kind of new functions do you mean?
A lot of climbing exercises, interacting, like you're actually trying to interact with the environment in a more grandiose way. Like Alex does that concept well, but then Boneworks is like they really want you to interact with the world that you're in. Like it's not just press button and something happens. It's like, okay, I have to put together this thing and then this thing will happen.
Oh yeah, you know what? I remember seeing somebody try to cross like a small pipe like over a gap, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and it's like you have to have like some sort of understanding of how your locomotion works and how do you make that work in game. And I want to try that out, but I need to be a little bit better at VR.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't really have the space for it like by my computer. Like I'd have to hook something up into my living room like on the other side of the wall to actually be able to do anything.
That's how I felt in my office. Like the only thing I really could feasibly do is just move a couple of my chairs out of the way, and then I just
hmm.
have some space. But it's like it at least with the Oculus Quest 2, it does like a really good job of like letting you know that you're about to walk into some shit, or
Yeah.
it also lets you know like, okay, so you need this sort of space for this game. Like it'll let you know just straight up the bat, hey, do you have the dimensions that are required for this game?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Video game developers in the VR space.
Yeah, I've thought about getting a Vive in the past couple of years, but it's always just a matter of eh money.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really want to spend $800 on something that I don't know? Not that I wouldn't use it often, but
that's where
do I
I'm at
really
right
need
now.
it right now?
That's where I'm
Yeah.
at with this. It's like, am I really using this at the moment? It's like I enjoy
Well,
the
you've already
purchase.
bought it, so
No, I'm in it, and like
you
I
have to
make sure I
justify
use
it.
it. And it's like but the only thing I've been doing for like the past few days is watching YouTube. And it's like I bought this really neat game for it. It's called Death Unchained, and you are basically a crusader that has to use a bow or a crossbow, and you're going through this area killing like Templars and like holy men that have been taken. It's like Dark Souls in a way, but you're a bowman like the entire time.
Okay.
And like the game's super fun because you're also actively like shooting arrows, and you're like getting this like little fitness tracker on the quest at least that's telling you, okay, so
Oh, do you mean Immortal Unchained? No. Is this not on Steam?
it should be no, it's not on Steam. This is I think this
Oh.
is a Quest 2 exclusive for now.
Oh, okay.
Um, In Death Unchained, actually.
Okay.
In Death Unchained.
I was trying
But
to look up a screenshot.
yeah, it kicks so much ass because you're trying your best, and it's like also teaching you about archery. So it's like it's really cool. Like I feel like I could actually take a bow and just be really confident in my arrow shot. Actually, I think that
Oh,
is
I
I
can
think
see. Yeah, the environments look gorgeous.
yeah, it looks really nice.
Oh, it's a roguelite. I didn't realize.
Yes. You get different types of arrows. Later on, you'll unlock the crossbow, and you can try your hand at the crossbow. Um, and like the game, and it's like just learning how all of like the different enemies work. Like it's so fucking hard. It's like unforgiving as hell, but it's I one of my favorite games so far to play. And like that's
Yeah, it
just a
looks
good
really
game to
cool.
like sit and just kind of fuck around with for a bit.
Yeah.
Um, but that was VR. The next category, this is gonna be some shit.
Oh
The
God.
best mobile game. What do you think the best mobile game is?
Now, did it have to release this year?
Yes.
Uh, without having played it yet, I would probably say Genshin Impact,
Wow.
just because I feel like it really went places in regards to like it changed the thinking of all mobile games, at least for me, they're like they're kind of like they're a subpar experience where it's just like, oh, look at they're all gotchas. It's like, oh, look at the 2D flat characters, whereas with Genshin Impact it's like, oh, look at this game, it has a fairly in-depth combat system, a completely like open world type of Breath of the Wild sort of feel to it, and you can play with your friends. You can go on like raid missions, and there's an actual good story to it. There's characters to actually enjoy through it. And it's all voiced as well. It's very surprisingly well done from I think they're a Chinese company that
Yes.
yeah, that previously did like the exact kind of games that I was just talking about, like 2D gotchas, and you're pulling for heroes.
Well, they had another game in the Genshin series. By the way, Genshin Impact is best mobile.
Yep.
But they had another, like, they had like a prequel to Genshin Impact. I did not play it. It was purely on mobile. I like the fact that Genshin Impact can be played on PC or phone. You don't lose any of your progress. I think that is some
Um,
really cool shit.
oh, you forgot one there. Did you not hear?
Mm.
It's on PS4 as well.
Oh, it's on console now.
Just PS4, and from what I heard months ago when it did launch on PS4, the saves were kind of there was something wrong with it. It wasn't running the way it should have, and I'm pretty positive you couldn't like between PC and mobile, like you were saying with the saves, you can transfer those, but you cannot do that with the PS4, if I recall
I
correctly.
think that's more of a limitation to Sony just being, well,
Oh,
Sony.
100%. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the game it's so beautiful, especially even if you're on mobile. The game just looks so fucking neat. Um,
Yeah, it has a nice style to it.
it definitely looks like Breath of the Wild in a way. I don't want to take it away from the game because it just has that art style to it. But it's such a
Yes.
neat game. I love the voice acting, especially it. I know a lot of people get mad at this. I like the English VAs. They're pretty good. If you
Yeah.
want to do the Japanese VAs, they do such an amazing job.
They're all pretty good, honestly. Like in
Uh,
every language. I'm not just saying like English and Japanese. Like the Chinese was pretty good as well.
I haven't tried the Chinese version yet. I'm sure they did an
I just
amazing
seen it
job.
like I've just seen it through like some comparisons. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't actually sound that bad. They're going for like about the same tone.
I think that they did a really good job. Mihoyo, I think is how you pronounce that. They did an
Oh, one of the
excellent.
characters.
The
Oh no, sorry,
developers,
the company. My bad.
yeah. Um, they did a really good job of trying to get a lot of people to play, and it just kind of took off. I haven't really been playing it since it went like just full on out there, and people were just downloading it and talking about it. But it's pretty good.
Mhm.
I would pick it back up again if I actually had the time to play it.
Yes, I haven't had the chance to dive into it on stream.
But it's good. It's free to boot. Like the gacha model's there, but it's like it's fair. It's like a
Oh
really
man,
fair model.
the
It's more fair than
no,
yes, it is more fair.
no.
Yes, it is more fair than what I've seen from something for a mobile game. From something like Puzzle and Dragons to what was that one where it's like it's anime girls but they're all guns.
Uh, Girls Frontline.
Girls Frontline. It's a hell of a lot more fair than that. Because at least with
I
Genshin Impact, you're logging in every day and you are having a chance to open one of like the capsules for a character. And I think that's pretty goddamn fair.
see from what I had heard about some people that were delving into it, like even in comparison to the last Impact game they had done, uh, it it may be the worst gotcha rates, like honestly ever. Like I think the rates that you could get like a I don't do they do 4 stars or is it up to 5 stars? I feel like it's 4.
I feel like it's 5. I can't really say
I know
that with
5 is the usual
assurance.
one, but yeah,
I can't
I don't remember.
I
Well,
cannot say
whatever
with assurance, but
whatever the best like star rate pool for a character is or like a weapon. I think the character one might have been like you have like a 0.7% chance to actually pull like a high star value character. like the rates are really, really bad. I wish I could recall the exact numbers, but it's like you'll
Between
have people
reasonable play?
shelling out like hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah, the amount of I remember there's this Destiny 2 YouTuber. His name is Bob. I forget what his name is. Anyway, he said you did not have to spend a dime on this game, and in fact that everything he's been doing up to the video that I saw, he hadn't spent a dime. And I remember going on Twitch one day because I was about to set up Destiny stream. He's playing Genshin Impact, and he is going hard. I'm talking dropping 200, 300. It was all the way up to 500. And everybody in chat's like, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, oh no, he's playing Vegas. He's playing Vegas and he's losing. And I was like, oh my god, I have never seen something like that before.
I mean, the best thing is when chat encourages it and they keep donating to you. That's
oh yeah, they keep donating to you to do it, and it's like, whoa.
Just get the thing. You're paying for somebody else's happiness. Like what?
And then from then on, I haven't seen him play it since. So I don't know. He ended up getting some like pretty cool stuff, but like from there, I haven't seen that happen. An honorable mention: Legends of Runeterra. Also came out on mobile. I am not a League of Legends player, so I cannot tell you much about this game.
I was gonna say I've never heard of that.
It is similar in the vein of Hearthstone.
Oh.
But it's just
wait, yeah. I remember hearing about it. Like the release trailer they had for it.
And it's been killing it on mobile.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It shares the world of League of Legends. Last I hear, they're trying to do an MMO based on League, which apparently that's going to take off.
Yeah, and their fighting game they're working on as well.
Yeah. So it shows that they want this to go further than a MOBA, and I hope it does. But Legends of Runeterra also free on mobile. The only thing that you're paying for is if you really want decks that fast, but that's any card game. I've never heard of a card game in my life up until our modern perception of electronic trading card game where you were able to walk up to your buddy and he just gives you like a whole deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and all of a sudden you're just you're a dueling master.
Yeah,
like it's pretty fair, guys, in comparison, because I've never heard of that. You always had to buy your own decks. I remember you would have to go to a comic store, actually buy a deck, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. But
there was a Capcom like card trading game. I wish I could remember the name of it. It has a very like Japanese name, but it features like every possible Capcom character conceivable. Like it has all the Resident Evil characters. It has the Okami characters, and they're like done. The art style for the cards is very, very lovely from what I've heard. Like if you've ever seen Okami, that game has like a very refined like painter type of art style. Whereas like the cards in game, they look more realistic, I'd say.
This is interesting what you're saying, because this is already released in Asia, in parts of Asia. It's called Teppen.
Yes, Teppen.
And it's made by Gung Ho. They have done other stuff. I like that outfit. I forget what else they've worked on, but I just know that I like that outfit for whatever reason. They have worked on Puzzle and Dragons mobile game. I've also worked on Let It Die, which I believe is mobile.
Oh yeah. No, Let It Die was that from a Suda 51? Are we sure we're thinking the same one? It was like it's like a third person tower like scaling type of game.
So okay, so this
I don't think it was
out,
mobile.
No, it wasn't. It came out on PS4 and Windows. I remember my dad tried to download it. It was like was like an action RPG in a way. It's like
yeah.
From what I remember from the trailer that I watched and from my dad's reaction, it seemed pretty good.
It looked it's got good. Some. It seems kind of fun. Not exactly my type of game, but oh yeah, it's from Grasshopper. Publisher is Gung Ho.
So, but Teppen, that game is coming out for the States. No, actually, it already released for the States. It came out in 2019, actually, July 4th.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've heard people talk about it
because I thought it already came out in Asia because it seemed like they released it for Asia first and then. But yeah, Teppen's out. If you want a Capcom-based electronic trading card game,
I've heard very good things about it.
I would have to look into it. I wanted to play it. I remember that this was a thing. Best action game. What do you think it is?
I
want you to think of every action game that had come out this year.
That's a lot of games.
Really? In the grand scheme of things, not exactly.
I haven't played too many newer games this year, I feel. Why don't you start?
What is the only one you have played?
I can't think. I have a lot of Steam games.
Could rhyme with to some degree.
Oh yeah, there was Deem. Deem. I love Deem. Deem, my favorite game. No, I didn't actually finish Doom Eternal. At least yet. But I did have a lot of fun with it.
Doom Eternal is
that would be yours.
Action. Well, no, objectively it is best action game. I'm pulling this from Tech Radar, by the way, who did their own piece on it. I'm pretty sure at the Game Awards there were different opinions. Shout outs to Hades, by the way. That game.
Yeah. Hades would be the one that I would say definitely. It deserved Game of the Year. It got shafted. The entire awards show got shafted by Last of Us Part 2.
Doom Eternal was a game. This was my most anticipated game of the year. Fuck Cyberpunk and everything that came with it. Doom Eternal, I was hoping was going to be a good game from the get-go. I was glad that it survived development hell, and it ran perfect. You can go DirectX 12. You can go Vulkan for people that are on PC.
Though there was the stuff with what was it, Denuvo anti-cheat?
Denuvo, I had covered Denuvo in a video. I'm glad that they decided to reel back on that because they lost a lot of goodwill. Unfortunately,
very surprising. Yeah, very surprising that they did reel back on it though. It was like nice.
Well, because everybody knows what Denuvo's after. It's not. Stop using it. Stop.
Yeah.
There are better anti-cheats out there and better anti-cheat services. Stop it.
Aside from that, it just absolutely tanks your fucking system.
It absolutely does. There is no reason why I should trust this application to run in the background and just completely trust that it's not going to do anything while it's just sitting there idling. It boggles the mind that people think that is a good idea. To give an application just root access to your system, that boggles the mind.
That reminds me, when Monster Hunter World, the Iceborne expansion had released, what was that, last year at this point, I believe? Was that last year? Or was that early this year for PC? Let me check that real quick. But, oh yeah, on PC at the very least, early this year. So I can't talk about it like that. Oh, I could totally say that Iceborne on PC is the best action game. Even though it released
maybe
back
best expansion.
But yeah, on PC, that launched literally with 2 anti-cheats working and checking themselves. It ran so egregiously poorly. The frame rate was absolutely terrible, and it's like thankfully within a patch or 2 they had fixed it, and it's much better now that a year has passed.
I still have yet to play it.
I was thinking about getting it for you for a Christmas present, but it's like
Yeah,
the whole
the
whole Iceborne expansion is still like $30.
Yeah, just like drop the money for it and I'll play it. Low key. No.
You just got Red Dead, so
I
I could say shittiest game of the year is Red Dead Online. Since that recently released, at least on a PC. I don't know about consoles, but you can just solely play Red Dead Online for like, as of right now, $5 on Steam and I guess the Rockstar launcher.
I forgot what I was trying to talk about here with Doom Eternal. Oh yeah, the game runs phenomenally, and I wish that we could do more with id Tech because it runs so fucking well. It can run on basically a toaster if it needed to. And that's,
I mean, Doom runs on everything.
It does in fact run on everything, and I think that's like the biggest meme. Can it run Doom right now? It's like yes it has to. There's no choice. Doom Eternal was fun. The soundtrack, kick-ass.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Nick Gordon could not do no wrong with that. It was sad to see him go.
Yeah.
But then they had gotten one of my favorite indie composers, Andrew Holschultz, who did Dusk, one of my favorite. I guess the genre we're calling this is boomer shooter.
Yeah,
it just it just reflects basically all of the tropes from early 90s shooters.
Yeah.
But Dusk kicked ass. Andrew Holschultz, one of my favorite indie composers, did a real good job on the expansion that it came out at the end of this year.
I heard it got like, it expected you essentially to have, obviously have beaten the original game.
Yes.
And like the difficulty ramped up from like the end of the game. Like it just kept scaling and scaling to like insane amounts. I heard mixed things about it otherwise.
It took me a day on stream to actually like beat the expansion. Not a day, like not a stream day, but just like in game time, and I would only play it on stream. It took me a day of like basically game time to beat it. It put new mechanics out there that just didn't fit with like the core action of Doom, which is just like you're blazing through all these enemies. Why am I stopping to fight this thing? Why do I need to stop to fight this thing? But it's like it forces you to do it, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere because they have set pieces now in a Doom game. You're meant to fight in this set piece and then move on to the next.
Now, are you talking about the expansion in this regard, or
the expansion?
Okay, yes. I was gonna say, I thought you were about to bring up the worst thing that Doom Eternal does, and I think you could probably tell me what it is.
If it's the Marauder,
No, not enemy wise, like environmental. Okay, the worst thing Doom Eternal does environmentally.
It's force you to fight in a set piece. Because I hate that shit.
No, see, you're gonna say, oh, the fucking purple goop that you are forced to walk through. It absolutely destroys the speed and flow of the entire game. You can't jump.
Least of my concern, really.
Really?
Because there are ways like to at least speedrunner methods, like they recommend dashing. Because I remember that one bit where it's like an L-shaped tunnel. You're meant to grab a power-up.
Yep.
Dash, and you're able to basically bunny hop your way through it, but not many people know how to fucking do that to begin with. And it took me a couple of tries to like get it down, but you can basically not worry about that.
Well, that's more like a speedrun strat than something a lot of players are going to do.
But my concern was just the way people kind of nailed the Marauders in the game. I thought they were like a really good enemy type to fight because it's like, okay, how much do I understand this game and what they're trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
And like it just made the fights, it made it less about just killing one thing into the next to just, okay, I now have to think about what tool I'm using against this and how I'm going to continue to sustain the ammo that I'm using against this enemy. Right? How am I going to work around them?
I feel like they did too much with it. Like, oh, it has its, distant attack if you're too far. If you're too close, it has that attack. So you have to be just the right range. But there's also the stupid fucking dog. I feel at least as far as I did get, because I did get to the point in which I fought the Marauder for the first time. I was like, yeah, I can kind of see why people don't like this. I feel like I like I don't remember the name of it, but the one that you go to a factory and it's like building it up the entire time, and it's like this floating robot sort of thing that has like multiple phases to it. I thought that wasn't too bad. I don't know if you remember the name of it.
Yeah, you're going to the maker.
Yeah,
it's something rather, but yeah, you're about to face the basically what's a tank.
yeah, yeah. Like I feel honestly that wasn't too bad, and it's like it's fairly easy to get through. But with the Marauder, it's like you have to have full attention on that enemy.
I like that. I'm glad that they did it. I am so upset that not many people enjoyed that. That's what I'm more upset about, because I don't like just mindlessly doing shit to do it. I enjoy having to think about the gun I'm using. I like the sound it makes.
I mean, every enemy in Eternal basically has like its own weapon that'll defeat it better than others. Like, I don't care what they say about, oh yeah, have the like sniper scope attachment for what is it, the like assault rifle. I always just like to use the grenade lobber that it sticks onto the what is it, the spider demons, like the brain ones with like the guns on them.
Is that what they're called? I think there's something. It's like Arachna something. I forget. It had
Maybe?
a name, and because it used to be a end boss for Doom 1.
No, not Cyber Demon.
No, not Cyber Demon, but hold on.
Not the Trite. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Arachnotron.
Okay.
But so like sometimes on stream I'll go back to like Doom, and in like Doom 1 and 2, it was you use shotgun or you don't. You use shotgun.
Yeah.
If there's something big enough, use rocket launcher, or use something else that just shreds for a bit. Go back to shotty. I appreciate that in Doom Eternal. It forces you to like change up the loadout. That's what I like. I don't like
depending on the enemy
doing it, but it's like Doom 1 and 2, the OG Dooms, like that style of combat, and to a degree Marathon, which was Bungie's version of Doom in the early 90s. That game, dear listener, fuck what you're doing. If you have not played any of these games, go back and just play it real quick. Go back and play Marathon Durandal. I don't care how you acquire it, just get it. Just play it. Fuck it. Play Marathon Durandal. That game kicks ass.
You can't force me. You can't force me.
I'm forcing the dear listener. You know what, Mallet? Just fuck what you're doing. You know what? We'll cut the podcast right now. Go play Marathon Durandal. Come back, and we'll talk about this a little bit.
All right, yeah, we'll be back after I play Marathon.
All right, we'll be back. Okay, we're back.
All right, yeah.
What'd you think?
Honestly, I like Doom better.
I could see why,
yeah. I've only played I've played all of Doom 1, including the like bonus episodes, which, oh my god, some of those were like really ridiculous. Yeah.
Some of them would kick your ass. Like episode 2 gave me a run for my money.
And yeah, I've only played a couple levels of Doom 2. I was thinking of streaming it, and then I moved on to something else. But no, Doom 1 it's surprising how fun it still is. Part of me, for my sin though, I I tried both versions because I do have it on PC, but I do prefer playing it on the Switch with a controller.
There's nothing wrong
Just
with that.
well, I mean, most people would be like, "Oh, you got to play Doom on the mouse, sync the keyboard," and it's like, I get that. I know it's sacrilegious because even I am like, "Ooh, you're playing a first-person shooter with a controller." I mean, it's your choice, but I feel like
If
in
I
some
may.
regards you can get a better like feel for it and like more accurate shots. But
If
I guess it depends on like snap to aiming and aim assist.
if I am able, I want to say that we need to just basically abolish the stigma or the thought that it is bad to want to use a controller. I
Yeah.
feel with the data that I have seen from Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, when everything was crossplay, and when I had seen the data saying like it's basically a 1-to-1 ratio. It's like it doesn't really matter what you're doing. It's just it's more your speed. If you want to play a controller, then play a controller. If you want to play a keyboard, just play a fucking keyboard.
Hmm.
Like I think we need to abolish the thought that one's has something over the other because right now, currently, it used to always be like, oh man, if these console players are ever able to play with us, PC players are just gonna get mopped. And what we're finding out is like, okay, depending on the game, if the game has fucking hellacious like auto aim,
Yeah.
like Halo has this problem right now. And it was the biggest thing where PC players right now are going, okay, I need to see what this motherfucker is using. If I'm going to be able to play crossplay with this guy, I need to see that he's actually using a controller. Because the auto aim, the sticky aim is just so incredibly large where you're hitting a guy without looking at him. It's like, okay. And I feel like it's that way to a degree on Red Dead Online too. Like I feel like if you can tell somebody's just playing on a controller.
Oh, I wanted to mention, by the way, when we were playing last night, I don't know whose session it was, uh, but me and Sharps towards the end of it, Sharps is one of our friends. We had I had noticed that because like we were going to do a bounty after you had left. Whoever session we had joined, I realized that we were playing on like the normal snap to aiming, and like I always like to play on the free aim servers. So that makes sense why this one guy we were going after for a bounty, like a player bounty. That would make sense why they were kicking our shit in with a Kakarno rifle because of
Yeah.
the snap to aiming.
It's just it's mind-boggling that it's like that's how it is now. It's just such a paradigm shift to like, oh, we're gonna mop the floor with these
Yeah.
fucking controller players. They won't even know what hit them. To damn, these controller players. Like, can you not? And it's
Um,
just if we can
I
abolish that thought, that would be great.
listen. I will say, the one thing you cannot have a disagreement on is if you're playing Fortnite on your mobile phone, and I'm pretty sure that has crossplay, and you're playing against somebody on PC or even a console. I think you're gonna get you're gonna get fucking wrecked.
Well, I thought you were going to say if you're playing on mobile and you're just using your screen as opposed to the attachable thumbsticks that they sell for this now. Like it basically turns your phone into a gamepad. Because
Mm,
I think you're gonna get the fucking mopped for sure if you're not playing with that and somebody else
yeah.
is. Because you're like, oh, I gotta turn the camera and you're just tapping away on the
Oh,
screen.
oh no, yeah. If you have like your controller plugged in, like that's different. You're playing with a controller at that point. But if you are playing mobile with touch controls, good luck.
Well, I don't know if it is crossplay like that. I don't know.
I was under the impression it was.
If it is, there are phones out there that are just absolutely crazy nowadays with the new Snapdragon architecture GPUs that they have.
Hmm,
I like the Razer phone. This isn't me shitting by the way, but the Razer phone 1 and then the Razer phone 2 both use these new GPUs,
okay.
and you basically couldn't tell the difference from the new Snapdragon GPUs to basically a 2070. Like it's
Oh wow.
they're almost hand in hand now. It's so crazy how mobile gaming is nowadays compared to the days of the Game Boy Micro, back when mobile GPUs were a thing. Like there was such a thing as the GTX 670 and then the GTX Mobile 1670, which basically ran as like a 440 or something.
Right.
So it's like it's pretty crazy how nowadays you can have a laptop, it can run a 2070 full desktop GPU, no drawback. And it's like, holy shit, like this is where we are now. It's like I didn't think we would ever get to this point.
You know, you mentioned the Game Boy. This is a recent thing I had heard about. Did you hear somebody had essentially made a what is it? A like proof of concept build for a Game Boy that doesn't need a battery, like it runs off of solar power and just you charging the thing itself by pressing buttons. So it's like it'll never die.
I have a feeling that's how this isn't me shilling. I have a feeling that's how the Razer Mamba hyperspeed works. Because you have to have it on the mouse pad. It doesn't have a battery. You have to keep it on
Oh,
the mouse pad and going, and it keeps working. This
I've
isn't me
never heard of
shilling.
that
I swear to God.
actually.
But I feel like this is
This
how that
podcast is
works.
sponsored by Razer. Is that how you wanted to throw these in?
Code Aegis, check
Perfect
out.
segue.
Get you one. They're, it's the holidays.
So that was the best action game, right?
Doom Eternally, yes. With the special shout out to Hades, because Hades kicks ass and you are lying to yourself if you think it doesn't.
I'd say if it's not cheating, then I'd probably say Monster Hunter Iceborne for me. If I'd actually throw out a game there, I would probably say I haven't played it, but Hades, just because the
Oh,
the
you
team
got
really deserves it.
you
Such a
gotta
small
play
team.
it. You gotta play it. It is
I
good. It
I
is so
know
good.
everybody and their mother is like, play it,
If
play it,
you love
play it.
Bastion, love Hades. I don't
I
give a
have
fuck.
not played Bastion.
Play Bastion before you play Hades. No, I'm just kidding. I don't joke. I'll appreciate it more. I promise you. Best RPG. What do you think it is?
He's Monster Hunter Iceborne. um, I really don't think I've played many RPGs, new ones this year myself.
Demon Souls?
Again. Oh wait, yay, fuck yeah, yeah. Never mind. Yeah, Demon Souls. Thank you.
Have you played the Final Fantasy VII remake?
No, see, I was told, like, I was honestly thinking about giving it a try, but I was told by a lot of people that because it does so many things differently from the original game on the PS1, and because it's like the way that it's working is sort of like an alternate reality type of thing, and they added in some like I forget the name of the writer, but very like Final or no, not Final Fantasy, very Kingdom Hearts type of things because that person that wrote for the remake of FF7 also writes for Kingdom Hearts, and it has like the story isn't great in that regard, but it's like different. It's not the same game. Um,
Uh,
so it's like you need to play the original one and then play the remake. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to play the remake at least right now. I've never played FF7 though. I have played uh one of the first ones for like or maybe like a remake of sorts for like the PSP, and I only played that like a little bit.
I have only seen people play the Final Fantasy VII remake, and that was only because I played
Mhm.
Final Fantasy VII. I had a Final Fantasy, like one of the early ones for Game Boy. I can't remember what it was, but I liked the way it looked. In all honesty, I liked the hybrid. You can either go real-time combat or turn-based. I think that is classy for folks that just want to keep it classic. or folks that want to actually chop things up, press buttons,
Mm-hmm.
get happy chemical from pressing buttons. I cannot say too much on Final Fantasy VII. I think the game, it looks good from what I have seen. I think it's not as faithful as it could have been because obviously there have been changes.
Yeah, it looks fun.
I think this remake is a hell of a lot better than the Resident Evil 3 remake, though. If there is a category for best remake of the year, this would be a contender, but I think it would have to go to Demon Souls in that regard.
Yes.
Because that is actually faithful. I
yeah,
think
Bluepoint did a couple of things differently, like with some of the art transitions, I'd say. Like there's a few enemies that just they aren't as faithful as they could have been, without naming any names specifically. Because you haven't played Demon Souls, period, have you?
No, it was always on the radar, and then there was always that apocryphal thing, like early Dark Souls era, where it was like,
Yeah.
we're finally gonna get fucking Demon Souls on PC, guys. Oh, you don't even fucking know. Like it never happened.
We're still waiting. It's not gonna fucking happen.
Like
Now
don't hold your
Bloodborne though.
breath.
Bloodborne 2 for the PC. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Here it comes.
Oh boy. I heard they canceled it for PC. I heard that was like a meme.
Bloodborne for the PC is always a fucking meme. It just needs to be so with Bloodborne comes with a PS Plus subscription for the PS5 as of right now. And it runs a little bit better than it did even on the PS4 Pro. Like it's much more stable, but it's stable at 30 frames. So the fact that like other games like Crash Team Racing, even for example, that got a PS5 update, so that runs at a nice 60 FPS now, comparison to the PS4 version that ran at 30. I'm not sure about PS4 Pro what that capped at, but it's like of all these games to not get a 60 FPS update, it's really weird that Bloodborne didn't. So I feel like there's something going on there. We'll be getting something Bloodborne update related eventually.
So that was best RPG. Final Fantasy VII. Neither of us played it.
Wait, that's not what I said.
Neither of us played the game.
I didn't say my favorite was that was best RPG. I said Demon Souls.
Yeah, you said Demon Souls. Best RPG is Final Fantasy. Remember, this is from Tech Radar. This is what they're saying it is, and I'm just giving.
Oh,
you
am I
the
supposed
option.
to be guessing
yes,
what
you're
it is?
Supposed to be guessing what it is.
So I guess the objective, but I give my subjective.
Yes. What's so hard to understand about that?
I know. I didn't think you were pulling from a list the entire time.
I said that's gonna make sense as we go through it, and I thought you had picked up after best action, and it didn't seem. Well, now I know that you didn't. Okay, best online multiplayer game. I'm going to give you 2 answers, or I'm gonna give you 2 like guesses here because they picked 2 of them.
Best online multiplayer.
Best online multiplayer game. Yes.
I feel like one of them was probably Call of Duty.
No.
Really? I'm sorry, but there's no way it can't be Destiny 2.
No.
Yeah. Best online multiplayer.
Think of the game that was sweeping the nation for all about 1 month.
Oh god. God. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
You played
2020 was a fucked year. Oh god.
Oh god. Oh dear.
It just fell.
Oh no.
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Okay, you're all right. You're on to something. What's the second?
I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna facepalm when I hear it.
I mean, you're on to something with Destiny. What's a game like Destiny?
Call of Duty.
No.
Was it Apex?
No.
Titanfall 2.
No.
Are you sure?
Pretty positive.
I
will say EA Pass kicks ass on if you have it on Steam. Play every EA game that you ever wanted.
I'm not going to support EA. No thanks. Very seldomly, I'll give them a couple dollars for a game. Like I was waiting for the. What's that?
Titanfall kicked ass. I don't know what you want.
I haven't played Titanfall actually.
Titanfall kicks ass. Fuck you if you have not played that game, dear listener. If you have not played this game, please play it. Stop listening to this. Get EA Pass. Play it. Come back and then listen to it, and then you'll have a deeper appreciation. And then we can both go, Mallow, fuck off. Go play it.
But I don't know. I don't know what the second one is. Again, I'll probably facepalm.
World of Warcraft, Shadowlands.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that, honestly. It just came out.
It's the only MMO that's come out. What do you want? We've had that Amazon game that was supposed to release this year. It never did.
Yeah, that they canceled the shit out of that.
It probably would have beat out WoW, but because WoW is the only MMO to have actually released this year.
That's not technically true though. That's just an expansion.
They count it as a new game because it's just.
That's ridiculous. No, that is an expansion.
It's an expansion, yes, but it's a new game because this basically did away with a lot of the older system the game had in place. This is about to be me on a rant about WoW, but bear with me.
Okay.
The game used to have 120 some odd levels. They axed that to where it's now 60 levels in the game because power creep is a problem in MMOs. And the more powerful you get, it feels like the less powerful you actually are.
Okay.
So in order to do that, axe most of the game. All of the expansions before then, make it easier to do. Fuck it. All of the level grinding, make it more linear. Just fuck it.
Yeah.
Do it. Who cares? Quest line for the expansion, make it more cinematic. Do it. And if you were to... So Battle for Azeroth was the previous expansion to the game.
Okay. When was that released?
I think like 2 years ago now.
Oh.
Battle for Azeroth came out. It wasn't the best expansion they had ever released, but it got people talking about WoW again. Because it kicked ass like the first week it was out. Like it got me playing the game.
But that first week and a day, nope, that's when things went downhill.
Well, because people started noticing, like, where's the content to the game? It seems like there's no game after we complete the game. So, like, where's the game after that point? And so people were like, okay, so did Blizzard, like, go on vacation or something? Like, what's going on here? And then we started seeing that Blizzard was drip feeding content, which does not help you in an MMO where people are constantly logging in and doing stuff, and then they're expecting to do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's like you don't know somebody's schedule with an MMO, because it's like, yeah, I'll play. You know, I have the time to play for maybe 5 hours today, whereas the other person on the other side of the spectrum is, yeah, this is all I'm doing all day for the next week.
But to rear this back around, Shadowlands basically made the game new. It expanded on more concepts that the game hasn't been doing very well, and has basically axed the stuff that was making it into more power creep than it needed to be. Destiny 2 is also doing this into some regards, but it did not work for this expansion. The expansion Beyond Light, for those of you that watch the Destiny content on here, doesn't work in the same regards. They did kind of the same thing where they axed like most of the game in place of expanding on new features like the new stasis subclass, which is, you know, brand new superpower, whatever. It didn't really work in the same vein because, you know, that after the first week, people were like, okay, so now what?
So
And
what do you think Bungie, good old Bungie, could possibly do to have the old content still in, but also continue expanding on new content? Because I remember the issue you had brought up was for console players not having enough space on their drives, whereas
that
PC you can add in expansions whenever you want.
the easy method is to say we don't give a fuck. Put everything back in the game. That fixes all of this stuff overnight. Put everything that you axed out of the game just back in. Now people with 200 gigabyte hard drives, they're going to be hurting. Sorry.
Yeah,
But if Call of Duty doesn't care and they're allowed to release a 256 gigabyte game and they're doing okay with
that is ridiculous.
the baseline game, by the way, this is without DLC content and it's just what came packaged in the game. If they're allowed to release a 200 gigabyte game, Destiny should be allowed to have their game. Hell, Warframe did it. Warframe's allowed to have a game that has so much going in it. They're still allowed to be on console. And Call of Duty's allowed to be on console. With all of that in mind, Destiny shouldn't care about that. Bungie shouldn't care about that, period.
Yeah.
People want to play it, they want to play it. The game's free. Majorly, until you figure out, okay, well now there's stuff that I'm missing. And I maybe I should get one of these expansions at least.
Yeah.
It could really solve everything overnight. And the problem that we're currently faced with is that the community doesn't know what they want. And that's kind of the problem with these live service games is you are depending on the community to kind of tell you, the developer, that yes, this stuff isn't really, it's not good. But then you start, I call it the Fortnite syndrome. Fortnite to me was like a really good game at the beginning, before the battle pass system had come out.
Sure.
Before any of this stuff had it, before Fortnite is what Fortnite is now. It didn't have any crazy nonsense going behind it. I do like their whole events that they do and this, that, and the other thing. But they have took so much feedback from Reddit, basically. And that's like a really crazy thing to do. It's like you're armchair developing the game for the developers, and then all because of the, like, all of a sudden, because of what you had said in a Reddit post, it's just now in the game.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, because the community knows that, okay, they're actually listening to this community. All right, now I'm gonna throw what I think should be in the pot. Everybody goes nuts over it. All of a sudden, it's in the game, and we keep doing this until the game is what it is now, where you're meant to build buildings at Mach 8 speeds. It's crazy to think that at one point this could have been Minecraft. We're just building buildings high as the stratosphere.
See, that's the reason why I could never like get into Fortnite too much. Aside from the fact I don't play many multiplayer games in general. It's just that like I can, the shooting is easy enough because like that's in a lot of games, and it's like I can get myself used to that. But the building part is like I get it for some people. That's kind of like the whole point. That's the tech of it. But I don't know. It's a little bit too much for me. Like when I would play with Michael a handful of times back a couple of years ago, like he would essentially build everything, or I would die and then just watch him just stack and stack these infinite sky towers.
Oh, yeah.
It's very impressive, but it's like it's way over my head.
Yeah.
For what I could do as a player.
I don't, and that's another thing that this game kind of, it breeded the sense of games have to cater to not a casual player. Like it everything has to be basically an esport, or it has to be basically competitive. If it's going to be one of these multiplayer type games, it has to be a competitive thing.
Right.
And I think that's that's a no thing to do. That's naughty. You'd have to not do that, game developers out there. Keep gaming grassroots. Not everything has to be super competitive. I like when I can drop back on a game like and this is not to discredit anybody that plays this game as like content creation, but it I appreciate a game like Destiny 2 where it doesn't have a competitive scene to any marginal degree. Like our competitive scene in Destiny, like our payouts are like $500 per tournament. So it's like where are you trying to go with that?
Yeah.
But I can appreciate that. I can appreciate a game like Red Dead Online, it PvP if people actually play the fucking thing to where it and also on free aim. But I can appreciate
Yeah.
dropping back to a game like that. There's no competitive scene. You're not expected to be, you know, Dick Wellington who has over 10k hours in the game, knows every in and out, knows exactly the TTK value, TTK being
Yeah.
time to kill, knows everything about this weapon. This is why the Navy revolver actually beats out the Schofield in myriads of ways. Like, I'm not worried about that.
I mean, I
I'm
think it
just,
does technically.
hush. I'm trying to beat the game at my own pace with what I know, and that's what I appreciate. And you can't do that in a game like Fortnite because there's a constant meta and the meta is always shifting. People are
Yes.
telling you you have to play like this. That's I can't see how that is fun. Might be fun to watch, and I think that's one of the biggest issues too is that streaming something and then you're looking at this, you have no idea what the fuck's going on, but so many things are happening. This guy's getting shot at, or that guy got killed, and you're like, oh shit. That makes it more fun. Developers have to work off of that now. It's a mess. I don't know how you fix something like that, but
I think the only game that I've had to deal with like a meta that, you know, has multiplayer, either it's a multiplayer based game or, well, I'll just say what it is. It's Dark Souls, where like Dark Souls 3 patches would shift what was the better thing to use because it's like, oh, this is too overpowered, so you decrease this a little bit, and then you increase something a little bit more, uh, and then that's just like, oh god, it's too good. Like I remember, for example, back in Dark Souls 2, there was the and this wasn't on release. This got patched in to have more frames, but the Monastery Scimitar, this little curved sword, had the best frames for parrying out of anything in the game. It was like free parries so long as you weren't a fucking idiot with it. But it's like that you would see that in somebody's hand and be like, "Oh, well they're going to parry me, so I have to play differently to that." Until they eventually uh nerfed it. So now it's just like, yeah, it's there, but it's not incredible as it was. For me though, I usually never follow the meta. I just kind of end up doing my own thing for the most part. Like there's things where it's like, okay, you know, I want to try to tweak to this or this type of weapon because it's like I know that I'm gonna be kneecapping myself if I don't kind of play a little bit differently. But overall, it's I just tend to use more so what I like more than anything else.
that's how I feel it should be. It's not
Yeah,
like that for games like Path of Exile because in terms of a free-to-play game, developers have to force a meta, and that keeps you coming back to the game when okay, all of a sudden what this wasn't a good build. Like Necromancer wasn't a good build here. All of a sudden in this patch Necromancer's good. Okay, in this patch bows are good. Use a bow now. And you're like, "Oh, okay, that's fun." And that keeps you playing and then that keeps you coming back for the next update. And all of a sudden
doesn't
there's a
that
new
kill?
build.
Doesn't that kill your entire build though?
It
Are you
well,
able to respec
um
easily?
well, here's the thing about Diablo and Path of Exile is that you're playing the seasonal mode. Fuck trying to
Okay,
play the game just like year round. That gets stale when you're keeping the same character throughout the entire year, seeing how stacked it can get.
sure.
No. What you want to do is play the seasonal mode. You have like 3 months in a season. That gives you well over enough time to get to the end game, see how stacked your characters can get, run a new character, and keep doing that.
Hmm.
Um, but that's good because that gives you more of a time to see the other builds in the game. You're looking at this build that you were playing preseason. You're like, okay, I'm gonna try this for the when the update comes out. I'm gonna try this new Necromancy build because apparently Necromancy is gonna be back on the plate.
Okay.
This is just an example. Necromancy's always been good in the game if you play Path of Exile, but because necro, it's just an easy build to like do because you have things killing stuff for you. Like how
Yeah.
hard is it gonna get nerfed? Like honestly.
Yeah. From what I hear about Michael talk about it, necromancy seems pretty good. You just have a bunch of people on your
So
team.
it's so necromancy is good. We're buffing the ability to have an extra zombie. All of a sudden, the meta's shifting towards necromancy because oh wow, this extra zombie is actually putting in work against this boss.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to like see how these builds operate because in the previous patch, this build was no longer good. Now it's super good because the extra zombie. Um, it's just stuff like that. It's hard for a free to play game to kind of shift angles and do all this other stuff because you're trying to keep people from you know you want people to come back every patch
Yeah.
and you're trying to basically retain players throughout these seasonal patches, and that's something that Destiny has a problem with too, is the fact that it's technically a free to play game. And I
Yeah.
mean that without like any gesturing or anything. It's just they try to be a free to play game. They have to do a patch every so often to retain players and do this and that, so they have a seasonal model too. All
Right.
of a sudden, a gun that wasn't good this patch, or a gun archetype like scout rifles, weren't good the previous patch. Scout rifles are now good this patch. Try them out. See what you like of them. But yeah, I just don't like that chaos where it's like, okay, this is a developer that had a vision for this game, and we're still talking about Fortnite here. They were they had plans of doing a PvE mode that never really took off because why? The multiplayer is fucking killing it.
Yeah, and the fact that they just completely have gutted the PvE uh to like the people that like this was their baby and they have now passed away. I know there were two people in specific that this was in relation to, but the fact that they gutted that and it's like, well, I mean, I know people do play that and people did love the PvE for Fortnite, but the main thing when you hear Fortnite is the fucking multiplayer,
The
of
battle
course.
royale, yeah. It's
Yes.
hey, I was looking forward to the PvE more than anything. That's why it stuck out. When I saw the season pass, Steven and I had played a little bit here and there, and then we were just kind of done with it. It was
Yeah.
like, all right, whatever. And from there, I just kind of I don't care for the battle pass model, or sorry, the battle royale model. It's it's weird when you're looking at an it or a forum like Reddit, and you're seeing a bunch of people just stir the pot with their ideas, and everybody, to their credit, everybody's allowed to criticize and critique and give their due diligence to the game that they play. They all want to see it succeed.
Yes.
But when it's and I can't really talk about it to a great detail because I don't really know what the end goal for Fortnite is, but it just seems to me that you see a bunch of these suggestions and you're putting it in the game. There was one suggestion in particular where they added mechs. The mechs were a huge problem for Fortnite,
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
and the mechs were a suggestion, and you took the suggestion to heart. People thought it was a good idea for some reason, and didn't act like it wasn't going to be completely broken in any way to have a completely modular bipedal vehicle in the game, completely obliterating players.
Yeah.
It was a suggestion. Instead of just making the game that you guys wanted to make, you took the idea from Reddit. It kept the game a little fresh for a little bit until people were like, yeah, this is a huge fucking problem. Um, and I think for developers of any sense, indie or not, you have to be really careful about your community and just trying to make what you want to make and just keep it like that.
Yeah.
Just,
While listening to your community.
yes,
Yeah, it's a very fine line to balance.
very fun, yes. I'm gonna do a speed round for you because I feel like we do have another topic here. We I didn't expect that to go as long as it did,
Yeah.
but
Oh, and I would say either Fall Guys or Red Dead Online, even though Red Dead Online is shit, and also didn't technically release this year, but it released on separately Steam and Rockstar Launcher. So does it count? If it doesn't, there's Fall Guys. That's my online choice.
You had Fall Guys. You did not have World of Warcraft.
I'm saying subjectively.
Oh, of course. I will not give you online. Sorry.
Then yeah, Fall Guys.
All right. Fall Guys was a hell of a game that lasted for a month, and I'm still rooting for it.
It still has a lot of concurrent players.
Yeah.
Like, it certainly doesn't have anywhere from like 100,000 to 60,000, but I mean, it has above 10,000. So I mean, that's pretty good.
It's weird that people think they were going to keep those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, even Among Us as well.
Yeah, Among Us. I mean, people are still playing it, but it's like at this point, it's a fun game to watch, especially if you don't have like a crew that gathers for it. It's not like a regular poker night sort of game for you. But
no, I'm very happy that Among Us won multiplayer game of the year, what have you.
It's a cute game.
Yeah. It's not something I'd play that often, but I'm appreciative of. I just like the smaller teams to kind of succeed, where they definitely do deserve it. But I mean, then again, Among Us released last year is what everybody needs to remember, and I think everybody forgets. It just got really popular this year. It released last year.
You're gonna like this one. This is gonna be more of a speed run, but you're gonna like this.
Okay.
Best action adventure game.
I guess Demon Souls.
You played it. It's not gonna be that one, but you played it.
Best action adventure.
Spent a lot of time with it, in fact.
I'm not sure.
Might have a G in the name.
J. Oh, was it Genshin Impact?
Ghosts?
No. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I fucking forgot that Ghost of Tsushima released this year. No, Ghost of Tsushima is a fucking amazing game. Yeah, I haven't finished yet, but oh my god,
looks like it's really kick ass, and I wish.
It's PC. So fucking fun. I don't see them not doing a PC release sometime within like the next year.
For me, I would have to say Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I know that's going to make people upset. I loved the game. I am a sucker for Norse and Greek mythos and histories. I like that we finally have a fucking Assassin's Creed game set during the Dark Ages. And I'm glad that it was for Vikings. That's fucking cool.
What I hate about the Assassin's Creed series now is, granted, they're not doing yearly releases so much anymore, which is good. But it's like, I feel Ubisoft should really just like create a new series rather than just call it Assassin's Creed, because it's like, you're a big fucking Viking warrior. You're not an assassin. You're not assassinating people. I mean, you might, in the game, you might stealth kill somebody, but it's like, it's not the same story that like the first couple original games had.
Okay, so I want to throw this out there. I know it's like, oh, okay, guy, whatever, but in the all right, here we go. In the lore of the game, you play as Eivor. Eivor could be man or woman, because the animus, the thing that you get into, can't really decide on what Eivor actually was.
That sounds like a cop-out, but okay.
It does in fact sound like a cop-out. And it's a good way to get people interested in the character, because it's like, it's technically an RPG now. So it's like, all right, how can I put myself into this game?
Yeah.
Eivor meets with the assassins. This is not a spoiler. Eivor meets with the assassins very early on in the game. The assassins gift him a hidden blade at the very start of the game.
Oh, now it's a him.
Well, I play as male Eivor.
Oh, I thought you played female.
Well, at the start of the game, I had chose the middle one, which it chooses the best Eivor for the situation.
Oh, okay.
So if the male Eivor
the best for the situation.
Best for the situation, yes. That you let the animus decide who's best for the situation. There is a segment in the game where, okay, this is kind of spoilers. There's a section in the game where you're taken to what's basically Jotunheim.
Okay.
You're taken to, well, the halls of Valhalla.
Yes.
In that dream sequence, you are technically Odin. Kind of makes sense to
Huh.
be melee war there.
Yeah.
Um, Eivor likes to go more stealthy. He's someone that can do both, but he likes to be stealthy, depending on who he's with. If he's with a member of the assassins, he's trying to show them that, yeah, I can do this fucking shit better than you guys can. So he has his hood up and he's assassinating people. If he's with fellow Vikinger, he still has his hood up. He's like, all right, I will scout out the area. And then depending on the actions, lore wise, he wants to be more stealthy. But depending on the actions, like the people around him is like, oh, you know how to sneak your way around places. Ooh, that's fucking weird. If they're fellow Vikings, if they're assassins, they're like, hey, you know how to sneak around places. That's kind of fucking weird. Um, Assassin's Creed Valhalla kicked us. Can't say the same for Legion. Legion sucks. Actual. If you want an easy way to go to sleep that doesn't involve taking any sleeping pills, like you can throw on Watch Dogs Legion. I'm sure you can fall asleep within minutes, and I mean that.
The development process was so terrible from what I've heard. Uh, that game needed like another year and maybe a half.
I don't know what they
It
were
like
trying to do with it.
it runs so poorly. Not to mention,
Oh, it runs awful. They have RTX in the game, and it doesn't fucking
yeah.
run. It is awful. On a 2070 Super, I can barely run the RTX.
See, I think part of the issue is that while yeah, Legion, it's like the whole point of it is you can pick whatever characters you want through the city and recruit them. But there's no like baseline story to it because you're
Yeah,
interchangeable.
it
Just some interchangeable dickhead
it
grandma on the street.
it feels like the end of an RPG. Like it feels like you're at the end and you're just doing like this every other side activity that you possibly could to finish the game out.
Yeah.
And it's like that threw me off. I almost fell asleep while streaming it. Like I am not even joking. Like I played it once and I'm like, I'm actually falling asleep to this. I think
I think a lot of people did.
if I do actually play it, like it is off stream and I have absolutely nothing to do. Like that's the only consideration.
You got it for free though, didn't you?
No.
Oh,
No,
I'm
no,
so
the fuck
sorry.
I didn't.
I'm so
I
sorry.
got Assassin's Creed Valhalla for free for my purchase of an
Ah.
AMD processor. I got Watch
I'm so
Dogs
sorry.
Legion because I was trying to buy a DLC set to Assassin's Creed Origin. I had went to the bathroom forgetting that I even had Legion in the cart because they were doing a sale where it was
Mm.
like it was 40% off plus the thing that you had in your cart. So it was like the DLC was 40% plus an extra and I was like, God damn. Why are we not funding that? So I was seeing how much like a $60 game would be. And I already had Valhalla, so it couldn't go in. So I just chose Legion. I'm like, all right, whatever. I come back from the thing, and I'm like, all right, I'll just buy it because I only meant to buy the Origin DLC. I forgot that I had
Hmm.
uh, Legion in there, and I had immediately regretted my decision. I for some reason when I went through Ubisoft support, they said they could not refund it because it was a digital like purchase, even though I did not install the
Yeah.
game. I don't know why the fuck you even have a refund feature if you are not going to let people refund it. I am on
Yeah.
PC, you dumb fucks. So it was a bad time, and now I have that to basically help me fall asleep too.
No, what are you talking about? You just fall asleep with your VR headset on.
Man, it's a crazy thing, man. You're literally falling asleep with that thing on. You wake up, you have no idea where you are. Like, I literally saw a black void, and I just didn't understand what it was. Like, I saw tiles, because it, like, the YouTube VR thing has tiles on the ground.
Okay.
Saw tiles. I did not see a YouTube video, because from where I was looking, the screen was behind me, because I had fell asleep turning that way. I was
Okay.
actually watching the screen. I looked the other way. There's no screen. There's no nothing. And it took me a little bit. I sat up, and it only took me like a couple of seconds to realize, but like I had yanked on a cord, because I have my headset plugged in, obviously. But I had yanked on a cord, and I'm like, oh shit. All right, so I took off the headset, and I was like, God damn, I fell asleep with that on. It is not a pleasant experience to fall asleep with the headset on. It is not a pleasant experience to wake up and then not know where the hell you are.
I can imagine. You know, speaking of dreams for a second, right before we started the podcast, I had taken a like half-hour nap on my couch, because I was before I was putting together a like metal terrace for like plants that my mom had got me for Christmas.
Ooh.
Yes, it's okay. I don't know where to put it right now. That's aside from the point. So I fell asleep on the couch for a little bit, and I had probably one of the worst like nightmares, or like not what I definitely wouldn't say lucid dreams, but it's like more like two life streams. Dreams. I guess I'd say I'm streaming in my sleep.
Animus in my
Oh my
dream.
god, yeah, my god. uh, but it's like I was laying on my couch, and then like everything seemed a little blurry. But I have essentially, there's my couch in the living room is up against the wall and a window, and like behind my head is another wall and a window, and then like uh going to that corner leads up the stairs. So like my head is like pretty, it's like a couple feet away from where the stairs begins to go upstairs. Uh and so I had dreamed that I had seen the light turn on suddenly. So it's like I could see the light coming from upstairs. And I saw like something that I can only say reminded me of a snowflake ornament, like the shadow of it, that my mom and her boyfriend had gotten from her boss as a Christmas present the day before.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, okay.
No, no, sorry. I'm gonna start doing that
um,
joke. That's awful. Sorry. Keep going.
and anyway, so the shadow of like that ornament, and just something making like a creaking noise as if like there was somebody upstairs. I like straight up felt my fucking heart start racing. Like I was legitimately scared. At one point I ended up floating upstairs, and there's like a little bit of a like a wall. I wouldn't say like a banister, but like something about that height. Uh once you get to the top of the stairs.
Mhm.
And so like I floated up to that, and I kind of like tried to look over, and like I didn't really see anything. There was a point in which like I went ahead and like, oh, well, if I'm dreaming, then, or if I'm not dreaming or whatever, then I should be able to just go ahead and just put my finger up to like the side of my eyeball, and then yeah, that'll wake me up. And then I stopped myself. But I've had this this is the second time, because I remember it, this recurring sequence, not even a dream, just a part of it, in which I'm in this cube room, like it's a complete square. It's fairly small, and it's made up of like flat, like very flat looking uh like piles of kind of like gore, or like fleshy. It's very red, and like I can see like kind of like remains of people that are still, you know, bloody and whatnot in this cube. And then like the cube kind of shifts around like the walls as if like it's moving, and like textures from the walls start to become kind of 3D and start to kind of like come out from the cube. And then at some point uh on one of the walls that I'm facing, it'll start to like open up into this hole. Like the bodies essentially of the texture will move, that it'll open up into this black hole that leads into like a tunnel that like I could crawl through on my hands and knees. And it's
like
like
Silent Hill for the room. Yes.
kind of. Uh but it's so completely random. Like I don't dream often for one thing. I know people are like, "Oh, you don't remember your dreams." No, I just I I would remember if I don't remember my dream, but I just do not dream sometimes, a lot of the time. Um, but it's
And
like I've had this same sequence of that cube, that gore cube, now twice,
that's
and
recurring for you.
yeah, I'm very confused. Like
And
I've had recurring sequences or like people in my dreams before that have like years ago I had some like bitchy girl and her like Chad like dumbass jock boyfriend enter my dream at some point, and the bitchy girlfriend was very terrifying for whatever reason. Uh but this was the only time years later after that dream in which I had honest to God lucid dreamed. They came back and I was like, "Wait a second, I know you, don't I?" And I realized it and I forcibly I was able to run myself outside and then over to my mom's house and realized, "Oh, wait, I'm dreaming right now. Let me just wake up." And then I woke up and I was just like, "Oh my God, why does she keep coming back?"
that is wild, man. I've
Yeah,
never lucid dreamed.
that was the only time I have ever lucid dreamed where I forced myself to wake up out of the
Uh,
dream. And I forced myself like out of the situation. Like we were in a downstairs, like sort of like club setting. Like it was a normal house, but then you go downstairs and it's like this dark room that like you'd see at a club with like nice chairs and whatnot. And there's like a bar or something. And it was that girlfriend and the boyfriend, but it's like I recognized them, and the girlfriend started like acting very just all I can say is like evilly or like not evilly, but very like demonic or evil very suddenly. Like she got like spooky, I guess.
I I want to refer you to r/dreams because there are some people that like actually interpret them,
Okay.
and I think it would just help if you had like, I don't know, some like tangible like way to interpret. Like,
Sure.
because have you interpreted what you've been seeing, or
Uh I haven't looked anything up, but usually if I have a recurring dream, I tend to take it seriously because I feel not that it's a matter of like fate or destiny, but it's like something that like almost I can feel could possibly happen. Like I was concerned at one time. I had such a vivid dream of my friend's stepdad and her grandfather passing away on the same day. Like her stepdad passed away on her grandfather's birthday, essentially. Like he had died, and then a year later, her stepfather had died on his birthday. Uh,
wow?
and I never told her that, but I had told my cousin. But I feel like that's just one of those things where it's like I'm not predicting it if it happens. Jesus Christ, but I'm not too concerned with it. But when it comes to like littler, smaller things, rather, I tend to kind of at least take it with a grain of salt, I suppose.
I had I told Michael about this. We have mentioned Michael several times, that friend, but
Yes.
I told Michael and Steven about the time I believe that that's what this was, but I had a sleep paralysis moment when
Oh,
I
geez.
was this was before I hit the big 1-0. And what had occurred was I was at the time I had a bunk bed. Um my stepbrother was not there in the room with me because he was at his dad's. And I remember I woke up, it was some sort of break we were on. Couldn't recall when. Just know it was before I hit the big 1-0. I had woken up and I was just going to go about my business. But something I realized very quickly was I could not move. And I couldn't really do anything. I knew that I couldn't move, but I wasn't freaking out, or at least I think I couldn't freak out.
Right.
But all of a sudden, the moment I try to like shift or do something, came a like really large spider. And this spider, she was a 10. This spider,
she got tits, got nice curves.
The spider, she had like the spider, like the abdomen of a spider, and then she had just like the body of basically a human. I had never, at this age, I had no concept of like animal human hybrids. I had no concept.
When you realized you were a furry.
I had no concept of nudity. But it was like she was hyper realistic to me. Like there was no way that this being was not real to me. She had spun a web basically, and I was just placed on this web like miraculously. Like I remember this very vividly, that I was just on the wall. From the bed, I was on the wall. Couldn't tell you how I got there, assuming I was carried. I was on the wall. The spider tells me to hush. I hushed. I wake up. It is now morning.
Jeez.
And I don't know how to interpret that.
You have oppressed furry feelings.
Or is spider furry? Do I just have eight-legged fever?
I don't. 8-legged fever.
That's how we call it. Arachno fever.
I mean, I know there are furries, and then there are scalies, which are like lizards or dragons.
There's nothing for spiders.
I mean, unless that just falls under furry, but like I don't know if there's a thing for birds.
Wouldn't birds be furry?
Well, it's feathers.
Wouldn't that be furry?
Feathery.
But you can't. You wouldn't just say feathery though. You would, because then it would just mean
exactly.
Feathery.
But they're scalies.
Because they're lizards.
Maybe that's just a matter. Maybe it's just a matter of furry is the main thing. Scaly is a subset. Arachne.
Arachne.
Just sounds like you have acne, and then they have spider eggs inside them, and then they burst, and then the spiders come out of the acne.
Listen, man. The only thing that I could interpret from that at all was that the spider was a 10. It's like she kind of looked like the lady out of The Ring a little bit, because it was just like hair.
Okay.
That kind of just flowed down. Completely unbeknownst to me, I'm just on the fucking wall in a web. And like I had stuck there. It was night when it started. Or at least it was like dawn, because I could see, like I could make out the figure completely fine.
Yes.
I'm back in my bed miraculously. My stepbrother's still not there because he was at his his dad's for the weekend. I wake up, it's morning completely. And I'm just like, holy fuck. Didn't freak out. It's like, what am I going to do? It's like...
I mean, that's good at least.
That was it. Like that. Somebody's street racing outside. How did we get on the topic of dreams and sleep paralysis again?
You said, VR.
Oh, right.
You mentioned something about VR.
Forget it, Mal. Forget it. Forget it.
You said, oh yeah, I had like fallen asleep with your VR headset on or
VR
whatever.
headset, and it was scary. Yeah. But forget it, Mal. Whatever. Just move on.
Next category.
Oh, that was it. That was all.
Oh, that's it?
Yep, that was it.
Oh.
You did it. All done.
Okay, so
happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy. What would here's mine for you then. What would be your game of the year?
So that's a problem for me, because
we'll go with here, I'll give you two things. What's your game of the year for this year, and what is your game of the year that you've played? Even if it was like from
Hades
20 years ago. Is that in both categories?
Well, I mean, it would have to be. Came out this year. Though, to be fair, I put more time into Doom Eternal Then I did Hades, but the only reason I didn't put more time into Hades was because I was playing early access. And I just didn't want to burn myself out before the full game released. So Hades is my game.
Yeah, I'd agree with Hades. And then what about your like game that you played of the year? Or is that Hades?
The best game I've ever played in my life? Is that what the last one was?
Game. What is the best new game that you've played this year? Like new to you. It doesn't necessarily have to have
be
released.
A new game this year.
It doesn't have to be a 2020
game.
A new game that you played, it could have been like from 20 years ago that
but
you
I
just
played
finally played it. Yes.
I didn't play many newer titles. Titanfall 2 was pretty new for me, actually. I did play Titanfall 2 this year, beat it on stream, played a little bit of the multiplayer. That game that kicks ass. Fuck you. Titanfall 2, best game ever made. Fuck off. Now it's your turn to say words.
I would say the Demon Souls remake is probably my game of the year. I know I just said Hades, but like, if we're talking award ceremony, Hades should have won it. For me personally, Demon Souls is my game of the year. New game, new to me, game wise. I'd say probably. Granted, I didn't beat it yet, but probably for me, I'd say Ghost of Tsushima. I think about it a lot. I wouldn't say it was, my game of the year, but it was my favorite game of the year that I had played. Granted, it was from 2020 as well, but
I think that's a fine choice.
Yeah,
that game kicks ass. What game are you looking forward to the most for next year?
For next year,
all things go to plan. Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
See, I'm thinking of the obvious one, but I feel like there was another. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. We are hopeful.
We're always hopeful. Probably Monster Hunter Rise for the Switch. That game just it gives all the color that the previous games had, not including World, because that went for like a much more realistic style and sort of a color palette. Whereas Rise, it's just you can see that there's a lot more just color and flavor and happiness and silliness put into it, rather than with World. It's very much more serious and, as I said, realistic. And it's like there's nothing that's very bright, I suppose, in regards to World or even Iceborne. So yeah, I'm looking forward to.
I appreciate games
Monster Hunter Rise.
A little bit darker. I feel like
yeah,
like Diablo 4. Hopefully that comes out next year as planned. But Diablo 3, a little too colorful for my liking. Even the desert areas that should never be that bright. Trust me, I'm from Vegas. The Diablo 4 just makes it look like how it was supposed to be. It's like a gothic sort of horror, but it's like an action RPG. Like, and that's
I totally get that. Yeah.
I'm going to just give it to you straight. I have a few anticipated games.
Okay.
My early, I think we're getting it Q1. Far Cry 6. I really like the setting. I think that's going to be kick-ass. I can always appreciate Far Cry compared to a game like GTA, where they do the whole trying to make it in America, man, but it's not working for you. Gotta disobey the law and shit. Far Cry is just throwing you into an area you really shouldn't be and trying to survive. And I like that shit. I love the way Ubisoft, and I hate saying Ubisoft and love in the same sentence, but I appreciate when they let you edit the fucking HUD the way you want. I love that shit. Ubisoft, keep doing it, but make your games better, please. in Far Cry 5, you could basically turn off every HUD element you can turn off. And that's how I really like to play the game. It's like it's super immersive. You're trying to live off the land. There is no crosshair for you. You don't know how much ammo you have, so you have to actually pace your shots, understand what the hell you're shooting.
Right.
And it's like when you go hunting, the hunts actually matter a little bit more because all these HUD elements are gone. You're not getting these little POIs on the map that are points of interest that are telling you this is where you need to go.
Far Cry 5 was the one with the preacher, right?
Yes, you were in Montana and some backwoods.
Did you ever play the sequel to that?
New Dawn, I hated every minute of it. I did not finish it. I think it would be better with a friend, but everything that made Far Cry 5 good, they were like, fuck that. Fuck it.
Mm.
I will say this, I think Far Cry 5 was one of the worst endings to any video game I had ever played, but I love the hell out of Far Cry 5. It's the same vein as New Vegas prior to you being able to mod the game to be able to play the fucking thing after the fact.
Yeah, that's fair. What was your favorite Far Cry game? I'm assuming 5.
4.
That was the one up in the mountains.
You were I forget you played as AJ unless you embraced the culture to which you were named Ajay, and you were tasked with burying your mother's ashes in some parts of Asia, and you find out some stuff and you do stuff and the game's fun.
I love the fact that the main villain of that game just tells you, hey, wait here for like half an hour or something. Yeah. And if you do that, then you can end the game that way.
I love that. I love that so much. I appreciate when games have that sort of sense of humor to do that. I haven't seen a game that did that since either.
I've only played 2 Far Cry games. I've played 2 and I've played some of 3. This was years ago, but I felt like 3 was kind of like I don't think my system by all means was really all that bad years ago, but it just didn't seem like it was that well optimized.
I really couldn't tell you, man. When I played it, I was on I think a business class Dell Inspiron that was running integrated graphics, and I was happy that I was even able to run the fucker, let alone play it.
Yeah.
Game.
I expected it to run better.
The game like, to me really kicked ass. From the quest, because we didn't have Witcher 3 yet, but the quests in that game, especially the side quests, like I actually gave a fuck about. They still did that Ubisoft bullshit back then, where you're just going to X location, picking up random stuff, and you're doing that for completion, basically. And you're just you keep going around the map, finding useless bullshit to pick up and go on your way. They still do that to this day, but back then they had a better hold on it. But Far Cry 4, that kicks ass. I wish I had a co-op buddy for that game, because that game you can do the same thing in Far Cry 5 that you can do in Far Cry 4, which is turn off every fucking thing.
Okay.
And it makes it, you really appreciate a game like that where it's that immersive. You know what the hell you're shooting. If I have a bow, I know how many arrows I have because I bought the fucking arrows.
Now, is Far Cry 4 and 5, is the co-op for that it's not like separate, is it? You're still playing the base story.
You're still playing the base story, yeah.
Okay.
With the addition of Far Cry 5, they have an arcade where you're just playing maps too, but you're playing the base game still.
I would say it's not out of the realm of possibility that I wouldn't mind playing Far Cry 4 sometime in the future if you want to do a co-op sort of thing.
Doesn't matter. Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5. Both play basically the same. I love 4 though. 4 is amazing.
Yeah. I like the setting, the way it looks in 4. 5, it's just like, eh.
It's Montana. Oh man, I love.
It's this zone that's just taken over by a bunch of backwater hicks, but it's like it's America.
Well, I mean, it's
all that exotic.
The story I loved in 5 because it was like, this is what happens when a cult reaches or tries to ascend to basically a military. Like this is what could happen. I just hated the ending to 5. I will say that straight up. The ending to 5 is actual fucking dog shit.
I mean, it did have multiple endings, though, didn't it?
And both of the endings are dog shit.
Oh. I'll say a quick spoiler. Granted, I have no context to it, but I thought the idea that they had a nuke was very interesting. Because it's like
dog shit.
It's not something I expected at all. Like I didn't think it was dog shit, but it's just like, oh wow, they got that serious. Like there's a cult over in Japan that I believe for the most part has completely collapsed. Called
Shinrikyo.
Shinrikyo. In which they were basically at the point at a time in which they could have like gotten nuclear weapons. They were that powerful.
Yeah.
So I was like, huh, yeah, this reminds me of, Shinrikyo, and it's like it could be in the realm of possibility. It could happen. I know I just used that phrase, but it could happen.
It's I really don't want to spoil it just in case we do play it, but it's have you ever played Dying Light?
No, but I've heard a good amount of things about that.
The game it's kick ass, but again, it's one of those endings where it's like, dude, you can't win. Like there is no win. There is no win scenario for you.
I know the ending for Dying Light. It's a shame.
And it's the same thing in Far Cry 5 basically. It's like no matter you could be the best possible you could be, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the final boss for Dying Light is a QTE. Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. But to swing it back though, I just wanted to say the obviously without having played much of Far Cry 3, that leaves Far Cry 2. That's probably my favorite, and it's a lot of people's favorite because like it's the most realistic feeling, and it's very grounded. It's not like silly. It's you're a guy trying to kill this like mercenary leader or what have you. I don't know. It's very realistic feeling. It's very grounded. It's very gritty. Yeah.
That's what I appreciate about it in comparison to something like GTA, which you could kind of do the same thing. It has its moments where it's immersive, but then it takes you out because it's trying to do too much of the whole. They're really trying to make it in a backwater America, and the only thing you can do really is just break the law.
I've honestly never felt immersed in Grand Theft Auto.
The only time I felt immersed was when that first person mode came out. When that came out, I was like, ooh.
That's fair, but it's like I feel like you're still playing as a character who has motivations, who talks. It's like I can't feel immersed if like it's not my character, I suppose. Like I'm like, oh, this game world is great, but I'll never be like, oh, I'm losing myself in it, I suppose.
What about Arthur? He has motivations, and you have to you're basically stringing him along to what you want to do.
Ah, fuck. Okay, that's maybe one of the exceptions, I'd say. But it's like you vibe so much more with this character.
Oh, I vibe so fucking hard with Arthur though, dude. When he yells at Dutch, or when Dutch yells at him, I'm like, hey,
oh, come on, Dutch! One more score, Arthur. Just one little score. Oh, come on, Dutch! You always robbing goddamn trains. To swing it back around.
Thank you. Halo Infinite's on the next chopping block. This game has gotten pushed back. 343 is doing some bad stuff. I am looking forward to Halo Infinite, though. I really don't like the concept of it being an open world thing. I think that was a shitty fucking idea for Gears 5. I think it's a shitty fucking idea for Halo Infinite.
Gears 5 was open world?
In a sense, it's the same thing that Halo Infinite is doing, where it's like pseudo open world. You're exploring environments. It's fucking dumb. It doesn't fit the context of what the game is. Stop. Not every game has to be an open world. Whatever. ODST did it. ODST gets a pass. Halo Infinite does not get a fucking pass to do it. Stop.
Yeah, I really desperately wish ODST had focused less on the flashbacks and more on the actual what was it, New Mombasa?
New Mombasa, yes.
Because like the jazz tracks, the rain, oh my god, the fucking, it's so atmospheric. And then it's like you walk a couple streets down for maybe like 10 minutes, and it's like you're at the next mission, and then it just completely gets teared away. Like I like the idea of that, of the storytelling that it does, but it's like I desperately wish there was more to New Mombasa rather than just a set piece to go through to go to another point in the story.
I agree, but there are certain points where I'm like, it just fits with what's happening. Like I think
Sure.
it's a good way to tell the story, which is it's more dynamic than how they did it for Halo 2, which was just I'm done with this level now. I'm just gonna be the arbiter now.
Yeah.
I think it's good that the rookie, the main guy you're playing as, he's trying to basically reconvene with everybody. You need to find out what happened while you were basically in comatose for fucking 8 hours.
Yeah.
Find out what happened to him. Don't die
Again,
in the city.
I have no problem with the way the story is told. I think
Oh no, not at
again,
all.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I just wish there was more. You know what? I guess I wish New Mombasa was bigger. I think that probably would have fixed it. There was it would you would span like maybe 20-40 minutes before you get to that next flashback point.
Well, it have you finished the game?
I have finished ODST. I know you played it more recently than I had.
But have you finished the game?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah, multiple times.
Have you finished the game?
On 360.
Mala.
Yeah.
You've collected you
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Questioning you. Mala. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've collected everything in the game. Like you spent the time to uncover Sadie's story. Sadie was the lady in the audio logs.
I believe so.
Because that opens the game up even more. And now as the rookie, you have an extra, like that's like, it seems like, oh, this is just Ubisoft bullshit that they put into this game. I don't want to do it. Do it. Because it opens up the game a little bit more to you, and there's more to do within New Mombasa. Somebody that's been playing the game on PC realized that there was like actually more to the map. I just think Bungie couldn't use it because of limitations of the 360 at the time. But you could tell that there was like a lot more to do. But if you ever get a chance to play ODST again, take the time to actually look and like just kind of absorb the world and just pick up the audio logs when you can, because it opens up
again. I think I think I have. I actually forgot that it it opened up like more stuff. Like I remember it, I think it opening up like some bunkers or something, or like
it opened up
hideaway stashes.
It opened up a few more caches, and if you found all of the audio logs, the rookie has to basically, at the end of the game, reconvene with Dare. Dare was tasked with not destroying the Oni facility, but she was tasked with retrieving an asset, which was Virgil. Virgil being the floating engineer.
Scum. Sorry.
You were tasked with helping. At that point, you were tasked with helping Dare get that asset out of there. Before that, your mission was to destroy a Covenant carrier.
Yeah,
but you completely skipped that shit. And Dare's like, yeah, we're going here instead, though. Just out of the blue, before anybody even realizes.
Yeah, I wanted to at some point stream through all the Halo games.
That's what I was going to do.
It's been a very long time since I've played one.
I was gonna do
all of them, honestly.
I was gonna do my legendary run through now that all of the games have released on the MC collection.
I had heard that heroic was probably like the best difficulty to play at, but
it depends on the game.
I was struggling on ODST.
It really depends on the game.
Okay.
Like you can get that heroic shit out of Halo 2. Like legendary.
That's what I figured.
Meant to play this fucking game on Halo 2. Like,
oh really?
Heroic. Yes, legendary is the way to go.
Huh.
Halo CE, heroic's the way to go, but legendary's it's fucking legendary. Halo 3, you could give a pass to legendary, but it really depends on the game and how it feels.
What would you say, because you listed off a lot of legendaries, what would you say is a good reason to play on legendary?
Sexual thrill. To know that you took a man's life on the hardest difficulty.
Gameplay
Dick
wise,
hard because you did it.
Well, like I'll give you, for example, Stalker, the Stalker series. You want to play that on the hardest difficulty, Master, because enemies essentially take the same damage that you take. So it's like it makes it feel supremely realistic.
In Halo CE, the enemies, I'm going to use Halo CE as just a reasonable example here. In Halo CE, if you're playing on easy, the color of the elites actually matter. So if you're playing on easy, you're only going to see blue elites. Blue is the rank of minor within the Sangheili being the elites. So if you're running around seeing a bunch of blue elites, they go down in a couple of shots to an assault rifle. That's no fun. What's meant to happen lore-wise and what's in the books is that Master Chief comes across all of these people invading the Pillar of Autumn, first game.
Yeah.
A bunch of people invading the Pillar of Autumn. He sees multiple zealot class enemies, gold. He sees multiple red enemies. I forget. I think they're majors. I forget. But the ranks and the colors actually matter. And when you're upping the difficulty, you start seeing more of these high-ranking characters. In Halo Reach, you saw it too, where you're seeing a few more zealots than you should. But they have different AI sets for those ranks. Like all of a sudden, the grunts that are in full black, by the way, like they are actually worth a damn compared to a grunt that's in red, because the grunt that's in red has higher chances of fleeing away once the elites dies.
Huh.
And you're starting to see them do a little bit more with the weaponry that they have, like the Jackal majors holding their plasma pistol to try to take you out. The major class elites throwing more grenades.
Okay.
And
I never really noticed that.
The majors, like the minors, they'll try to run away or they'll try to force you when their shields are down. The major will immediately pop into cover. If you decide to press them, they immediately go for you in close quarters. And they can one-shot you in close quarters. And it has been like that for every single game.
Like I knew about the or at least partially about like the elite colors, because they're one of the biggest enemies that you see. But yeah, I didn't really notice the jackals or the grunts colors too much to any like gameplay benefit.
You notice the spec ups at the end of Halo 1. Like the black grunts, they're the only class that's able to actually go invisible. You notice this in Halo 2 because they start just having cloaking technology.
I don't really remember that.
At Halo 1, well, so the first mission you play as the Arbiter. This is the very first mission you were tasked with taking out a Sangheili deserter who is basically telling everybody that, hey man, the Covenant, they're not exactly what we think, because
that whole section was the best part of Halo 2, I feel.
Oh yeah, I love that mission.
Oh my god. Then it just starts falling, the entire structure.
The deserter, he got a hold of one of what the Sangheili call oracles, what we call the monitors. The monitor installation 04, he is telling the guy, like, hey man, I don't know why you meddlers insist on trying to activate these rings. You don't even know what they do.
Yeah, I remember his little speech before you fight him.
And yeah, you're just tasked with eliminating that guy. But you as the Arbiter, not yet at least, you're not too sure why you're even doing that. You just know that you need to try to regain your honor because you fucked up.
Yeah.
You let the Master Chief destroy the fucking ring that you were tasked with unleashing hellfire on. But yeah, if we ever do play Halo 2, just take a gander at the very beginning of the Arbiter's mission, the very first mission that you play as the Arbiter. You will notice the grunts and everybody else. The walk into, it's the very first part to that level too. Everybody goes invisible, including the grunts.
I remember that bit, yeah.
And you guys just go ham.
Halo 2 was the best in the series. I feel like I love ODST, but Halo 2 was my favorite.
I started with one.
I started with 1 as well.
1 is my absolute favorite. I thought that was like this is coming from somebody whose first game they ever played was Diablo 1. And Diablo 1's graphics at the time, I thought, wow, that's cool. That's like a little baby. But
yeah,
when I first got my hands on the Duke, and Halo 1 was like the first game, and you just got into that world and you're like, wow, holy shit, this is an incredible fucking game. Yeah. It's the only game from my like throwback years where I'm like, wow, I could actually sit through this and play it again. And I used to do that a lot, where I would just come back to Halo 1 and I would just play through Halo 1. Yeah. But now that it's on the Master Chief Collection, it's like, all right, whatever, play whatever I want now.
Yeah.
But Halo 3 is my second, and Halo 1 is my first.
Oh, where's Halo 4 in that?
Halo 4, it's good. It is. I like it.
I didn't hear good things about it. I've yet to even play Halo 4.
Anything that 343 releases, people take with the biggest grain of salt. Everybody has agreed on one thing for Halo 4 though. The best campaign out of the 343 games that they have released. Okay. Halo 5 had the best multiplayer, but the story was absolute dog shit, and I think that is one of the biggest reasons it's not coming to PC right now. Yeah, was because that game, it just, whatever they were trying to do, they didn't. They literally didn't. They just made their own story after the fact, after releasing all of this other story bits. So we thought we were going to get a Master Chief that was like on the hunt for revenge, all this other shit. Mm-hmm. We got. We didn't get that at all. I
remember. Oh, Master Chief, he's wearing a cloak now. Things are serious. Everybody was out to kill him. And then it didn't happen.
And now for our actual scheduled programming. Yeah, it's Halo 4 though. That story kicked ass. It kicked so much tons of ass, and I believed in 343. I love the multiplayer, but not many folks did, because it was still doing what Halo Reach was doing, and they were doubling down on it. Things like reticle bloom, where the more you shoot, the reticle grows, and it was more it got even faster, which people were like, hey, watch out, don't do that, because the faster you make the actual player character, the less involved the vehicles are, which that's another big point of Halo multiplayer, is that there are vehicles, that the maps are more dynamic for that. And now in Halo 5, the vehicles are just completely fucking useless, because you're able to go at Mach 8 as a player character without having to use a vehicle. And it's like, okay, well, what's the point of being in a vehicle when I'm safer being at an infantry where I can just dash around? Why would I want to be in a death trap vehicle?
Because it's fun, and you can honk the horn.
But Halo Infinite, one of my most anticipated. Far Cry 6, one of my most anticipated. Kerbal Space Program 2, one of my most anticipated. Yes, from a computer science perspective, I am looking forward to this game. I want to see everybody's like engineer take on how to solve problems. And it was just really fun to, in the first game, I'd spent so many hours just sitting there in the first game, just trying my best to, all right, so this propulsion system is a hell of a lot better for just getting into near orbit. All right, let's expand on that. And it's just going to be fun, especially as a streamer now, to kind of see how people operate their, and just use their engineering minds to kind of work around these problems. That's going to be fun.
I'll be interested in watching you stream it then.
Resident Evil 8, as they're calling it, Village. That's going to be highly anticipated.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to that as well. I wanted to add to mine Prince of Persia. I'm slightly looking forward to that, I guess.
Prince of Persia is coming out. That's
Sands of Time.
Sands of the remake.
My favorite is like Warrior Within.
I loved Warrior Within. I'm so glad. I was about to say that. I love Warrior Within.
But like I appreciate the platforming in Two Thrones.
I'm wondering if it's gonna be more Assassin's Creed oriented though now that they have the
How do you
because
figure?
well Assassin's Creed 1, those mechanics were in place because they wanted to use that in Prince of Persia, and they just ended up doing Assassin's Creed. I don't know if you ever saw the tech demo to the original Assassin's Creed, but you can see
No.
how the puppeteering in that game is basically similar to the Prince of Persia game that had came out on the PS3 towards the end of that life cycle.
Okay.
Um, you can tell that they wanted to use it for that game, so I'm wondering if they're going to go back and say, "Yeah, we're just gonna, this is how the climbing is going to be." I kind of want to see how that would be, but I know that would make people upset. But you can tell that they wanted to do it for Prince of Persia, though. So
I feel like it'll probably be as faithful, as faithful as a remake as it possibly can. The art style looks interesting. I'm not the hugest fan of it, but like it doesn't look terrible.
sorry, excuse me. The next game, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2, one of my most anticipated. I love the original, the OG one. I was hoping that we would get another one. It's been in development hell for quite some time. I don't want it to turn into Cyberpunk. I hope that they've done their due diligence on this because, well, Cyberpunk ain't doing too well, Chief.
Yeah.
That and Blood Rain. I hope Blood Rain gets a remake.
Huh.
Because even though, yes, it is, yes, she's a 10. But that game kicked ass on so many levels. The action was really cool. And it was like one of the only games at that time that could pull that off, which is like it's weird. Like she was like one of the only video game characters for a time that actually had her own like Playboy magazine cover, and I was like, wow, that's
this game must be good.
Well, no, but it's just
this
like,
game must be good if my dad is masturbating to it.
Oh no, my dad got it for me not knowing what it was.
And that was the day when I became a man.
And we were playing it together. Well, I had no concept of like any of that stuff just yet. Like I was just playing it. I'm like, oh, this shit kicks all tons of ass. It's like it's fun. It's a fun game. And you're a vampire to boot. Like, come on. And I mean, my dad would actually like sit down and play it. There were some sections where he was like, oh, okay. But he was never the type to go, oh yeah, you can't watch this. Go to your room. Go bed. Because I grew up listening to kind of explains the way I am. But I listened to stuff like Andrew Dice Clay back in the day. My dad was like a huge Andrew Dice Clay fan. And then there was like a lot of Godfather. It just made Italians like too proud to be fucking Italian for some reason when that movie had came out. I don't really get it. But Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2, looking forward to that one. Warhammer 40k Darktide. I am looking forward to that because I love Vermintide 2. If you are somebody that likes Left 4 Dead, you would like Vermintide. I think you would like Darktide a hell of a lot more. It's just going to be Vermintide, but instead of the fantasy universe, you're in the 40k universe.
Okay.
Hitman 3. Because I skipped out on 2 and then the reboot. I am a huge OG fan of the Hitman series. I loved Blood Money. I love Contracts.
I played some of them, the original ones.
I just appreciate the. That's when I felt like stealth was like really good, like back in the day.
Yeah,
it was like in the days of Contracts. You had Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory, Double Agent. Like those games kicked fucking major ass. That's about it.
Here, let me add in one more game I'm looking forward to. Anthem.
They haven't fucking forgot about it. No, we're meant to get.
I was hoping you would say, "What was Anthem?"
No,
I forget Anthem exists a lot of the time.
Well, Breakpoint, Ghost Recon Breakpoint almost pulled an Anthem. They reeled it back somewhat. The damage is already done for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but the game is a hell of a lot better now than where it was when it released. And some people were like, if it just would have released like this, we would be talking about some different stuff right now.
Oh, surely.
Um, No Man's Sky had its renaissance, where it's just a completely different experience.
Which I want to say again. I know I've brought up in the past. I want to say again, just for the podcast's sake, that I'm very happy that it won best ongoing game. Like for as bad as it did release in like what is it, Sean Murray?
Yeah, I think that's what his name was.
Sean Murray, as bad as it did release, I think it was mostly just a matter of he's not a good public speaker. So it's like he was trying to, please everybody by saying, "Yeah, we can add that in."
Yeah, I was going to say I think he made it seem like he was more of a celebrity than a game developer. Like he was in the same progeny as Kojima, and Kojima was fucking like king of the universe when Metal Gear Solid 5 had came out.
Mhm.
So I think that this kind of humbled him a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, we kind of need to fix this though."
Yeah.
Cyberpunk's gonna go through its own renaissance. Anthem is in its renaissance phase right now. It knows what it needs to do. I'm hoping for a lot out of that the next big update that comes to the game, because I really wanted this game to do well, because if that game would have done well from the get-go, Destiny would be a better game for it now.
Mhm.
Guaranteed. Because right
Yeah.
now Destiny does not have a actual true to form competitor.
Okay. Yeah, it's
And
just for someone like me, I'm like, oh, I don't really care. It's fun to make fun of Anthem because it just they tried and just spectacularly
I'm so sorry. I
failed
can't believe I do that into
so
the mic, Mala. I'm
badly.
sorry, dude.
I'm
Hydrate.
sorry. I
Apologies. Yeah, I mean
but
it.
just the point. I just like to laugh at Anthem because it just they had a roadmap and they somehow failed to fuck it up. I feel, and I agree with this statement that the second you introduce a roadmap, and except for like a very few cases, your game is like gonna shit out.
Oh yeah, because you can drip feed content. I mean, it's the same thing that Risk of Rain 2 did, and I was very worried. I'm like, dude, you cannot do this. I understand you are an indie. I understand you might get a pass. You cannot
Mhm.
do it because it is very dangerous to do. It breeds a sense of, okay, so we don't really have to put any of this other content in because it'll come when it comes. And that's a very dangerous thing to do when you're drip feeding content into a game,
Yeah,
and it just makes the game a hell of a lot worse for it. That's what
I
kind of
feel
killed Division 2.
right. I feel Monster Hunter World did a roadmap very very well because they added substantial content every single update. It wasn't like it wasn't just one hunt. Like there was a there are so many weapons that you can just craft from one monster, not to mention the armor sets, and it's like they add new events in as well. So it's not just like, oh, there's no content at all. Like there were drought periods, but nothing terribly major because it's like, okay, well in another 2 months we're going to get a new monster. Great, and now it's development has pretty much ceased on World and Iceborne. Uh,
Really?
oh well, I mean, yeah, because their plan was, which I feel like they went longer than they did some of the previous games. What Capcom and Monster Hunter team usually does is they'll go ahead and they'll put out a game like, let's say for example, like Monster Hunter 4 that released in Japan only, I believe, starting out. This was before kind of the West started screaming like, "Hey, can we get the same release, please?" So 4 came out, I think, only in Japan, and then they would work on like an Ultimate Edition, which would add in the harder difficulty rank, G rank at the time in World. It's Master. Um, and they would add in some more things with that, some more monsters, variants of monsters from earlier in the game, make them harder in different ways. and then they would release in the West the like complete ultimate version, in which then they would add in little bits of content here and there and events to that, but nothing like Monster Hunter World and Iceborne had, where it's like you were continuously getting new monsters. Basically, you would just get like new events for the older games, and that's how they did that since the beginning. Frankly, every Monster Hunter game has had this sort of like new addition to the game placed on it. So it's like you have to pay another like 40 to 60 bucks for the new one. Whereas with Iceborne, they released it as its own singular game and as an expansion because of the rise in downloadable content that just made things much easier. So it's like you can buy Monster Hunter with this expansion and you're not missing anything, or you can just go ahead and download the DLC. And it's like you don't have to rebuy the entire game. And the DLC was like 30 or 40 bucks. So
I do want to say that I think Capcom, out of every AAA developer, I think Capcom has been putting out some fucking work.
100%, yeah.
I fucking despise Resident Evil 3's remake, but hey,
yeah,
Capcom can really do no wrong if they really choose to. They're not Konami, so fuck them.
Yeah, fuck Konami. Yeah, just like think back a couple of years ago, Capcom filed for bankruptcy and everybody was really worried, but like I think once Resident Evil 7 released and that return to form and like that new perspective with first person, it really started their rise up again. And it's like they've had nothing but fantastic fucking games.
Fire after that. It was spitting it out their fucking ass. Like they
except for Resident Evil 3.
Except for Resident Evil 3 could really kiss my ass at that point.
I'll keep it brief with that, but they took out way too much.
They took out way too much, yeah. And what we got in return was a mode that didn't last.
Yeah.
Not a moment.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The fact that they said they didn't plan on adding anything to the game post-release I was like, okay. So you putting all your eggs in the one basket on this fucking silly multiplayer mode that nobody asked for?
Yeah, it's like it seems interesting, but
I didn't spend too much time with it. I
never played it.
After like a game, I got super bored with it. The game is fun though. The game is the base game. I mean, it's fun,
right?
Especially in first person. I feel like it's really fun. I do love my first person playthroughs. It just adds such a different feeling to the game.
Oh, definitely. I really appreciate them. I mean, granted, 3 as it was, there was already the dodge mechanic, but it's like going back to play 2. It's like, oh my god, just move slightly to the left, Leon or Claire. Like, seriously, you don't need to fucking action roll out of the way like Jill does, but oh my god, just come on.
Come on.
But I come on. Thanks. Much appreciated. I will say that I am marginally worried for RE4 from RE3, but I feel like they've taken the criticism like, hey, don't take all this shit out. But the RE4 remake is scheduled to be like 2021, so I just hope they don't
quarter 2, quarter 3 somewhere.
I'm not sure, but I desperately hope they don't fuck with the writing. The writing is like one of the best parts of RE4.
I'm worried about
just keep the game the same.
Yeah.
But maybe just update it graphically and maybe like give it a couple quality of life changes. Like I would maybe even prefer they don't have your character be able to move while you shoot. They're going to, but RE4 is just, to me, it's my favorite game of all time forever, but it's just such a masterpiece where it's like it does do things I don't like with like the Separate Ways campaign, for one thing. How that just rehashes areas and the Krauser boss fight in that. It's just the quick times don't line up whenever you dodge. It's like you have to time your dodge with your quick time.
It's definitely going to be weird to see QuickTime come back to the game in its current form, because we have gone a couple of remakes and like a full on release without seeing a QuickTime event. And if I see a QuickTime event, I understand it. I don't agree, but I understand.
Let me have them. Let me have them.
Well,
They're how the game was. I know, like in some of the cutscenes, it's like I feel at the very least it makes you feel like you need to always be on edge.
I don't.
I understand the dislike for it though.
I don't think so, Mel. It's QuickTime events. They're fucking weird. Instead of just enjoying the cutscene, let me get in the exposition that you're trying to shell out to me. If I wanted to be on edge, let me move the fucking thumbstick. Like, don't. It's gonna be interesting. I understand why. I don't agree with it. I know it was in the base game. I don't agree with it though, because we have went a few games without seeing not a single one.
Well, I mean, granted, the remakes were, they're very faithful. Well, sorry, 2 is very faithful. And that didn't really have QuickTime events. 4, really started like the train for. Like I'll say it wasn't the first game too, because that was like some actually no, I'm not sure which game was the first one. I was thinking of Regenerative Health. It was some like random I think PS1 game. It's like a crime shooter or something like that.
For Resident Evil?
No, for
okay. I was like, Resident Evil
for
game?
Regenerative Health. I was thinking of what the first game was to like start with quick times. No, but Resident Evil 4 definitely popularized quick time events. That I'll say.
You ever played Outbreak? Where
no.
It was basically it was Resident Evil, and you had a bunch of different stories. I think it was on the PS1. It could have been PS2. I forget. I remember I played it. But
you had a bunch of different what? I'm sorry.
A bunch of different stories, and you're able to play.
Oh no, that was on the. There was Outbreak File 1 and Outbreak File 2. Those were both on the PS2.
PS2, okay.
Yeah,
that game kicked ass.
I've heard good things about it. It seems interesting. I've never played it.
I wish we have a remake of that, because having all of those stories to retell, that's pretty good, and it's still Raccoon City into some regard.
What is it? Dead Aim is the one on the boat, isn't it? I think it is.
I can't tell you for certain.
Yeah, Dead Aim. That's the one in which you are like essentially you're a different Leon. Like obviously not the same character, but like what is it? It came out actually, it came out before Resident Evil 4 had released, but the outfit that the main character wears in that game is essentially like Leon's outfit from 4. But it took place on a boat, so like before Revelations, of course. And it had like an Asian like mysterious side character, as Ada is for Leon. And then one of the interesting things that it did was whenever you would go ahead and aim, it would switch to a first person mode.
Yeah, Dead Aim was touted as being like an actual shooter. Like it wasn't. Yeah, it was touted as being an actual fucking shooter. Not really a horror. It was a shooter.
I don't know.
Because did you know what they released prior to that?
I'll probably know if you say it.
Dino Stalker. Dino Stalker was the same. It's a shooter.
Gesundheit.
Dino Stalker.
Gesundheit.
Hush yourself. It's a. They have like some special name for it, but it's a shooter. It has a similar mechanic that is seen in Resident Evil Dead Aim. Dead Aim, I never got a chance to play, but here's a tidbit for you. Did you know they actually used id Tech for that game?
Huh. No,
at the time, I think it was like id Tech 2 or 3. But that lets you know that if you needed to, that game could be ran on a fucking toaster right now.
Oh, you know what? You're right with the shooter bit. No, Dead Aim was it was a light gun shooter as well. Like, I guess you could
That's what
play it
they
with a
called it.
light gun.
That was the term they had for it. It was a
Oh, okay.
light gun shooter. But it was basically just a shooter game. I wanted to play it. My dad wasn't very interested in it because it was like my dad's pure horror nonsense. He got my dad got brutally upset. You probably never played the original Alone in the Dark. I did.
No, but I know that moves so slow.
And when the reboot happened for 360, my dad was first to buy that. He was like, "Oh my god, Alone in the Dark." Bought it.
Oh god.
He was
Oh
immediately upset,
no.
and it basically left me with the because he didn't want to return it. I was still playing it, so he just let me to my own devices. I hated that game. I remember Alone in the Dark.
Nobody liked the 360 Alone in the Dark.
But it was that the reboot was a hell of a lot better with than what they tried to do after the fact. So they made just a pure shooter after that, and I'm like, dude, the way that they are butchering this series, it's just like you could have did the same fucking thing with the reboot, but you decided not to. You decided to double down.
Yeah.
Go with a fucking shooter. And it was like the shooting didn't even work half the time. It was basically Raccoon City on acid. All right. We are closing the 2-hour 30 mark unless you want to add something. I think that this is a good stopping point.
I guess I'll add in one more question to ask. What is this one's probably a little harder. Actually, maybe not for you. What's your least favorite or worst game that you played this year?
That is actually hard because there have been plenty of them, and I'll do this for you. My least favorite DLC or expansion content to have released was Beyond Light.
Beyond Light.
Bar none, because it removed too much from the game.
Right.
Bungie kind of screwed the pooch on the stasis subclass because they did not balance it at all for the PvP side of the game. And I know that PvP isn't the main focus, but you know people are playing it. I'm not a PvP oriented guy. I love the PvE content. I do the PvE challenges in the game, like solo flawlessing the dungeons. I know that stasis it's gonna be around, but they could have done a hell of a lot better job of balancing the PvP portion, and the fact that they don't do that. You should, if you're gonna have a PvP side of the game, you should have a sandbox team that is developing content for the PvP side.
Yeah.
Have separate sandboxes, because stasis is fucked for PvP. Stasis is very fun in PvE. Being able to freeze and have a hard CC control. CC meaning control. Having a hard CC, a hard lockdown for PvE enemies. That is fun. Because that's the first of its caliber. That's what actually pushes Destiny to being an MMO. It's not just worrying about damage all the fucking time. It's worrying about your cooldowns. It's worrying about how you're taking your loadout into a certain scenario. We finally have that with Stasis. It could be a little more refined. It has a lot to go before I feel like it's in a good spot. But while we don't have a separate sandbox team for PvP and we don't have a sandbox team for PvE, I will never understand why that is. Bungie acts like they are an indie development team of, and this is their actual like point. It's like, oh, we're not the same as we used to be. This is not the days of Microsoft and when we were developing things on console. That we don't have the manpower. They have a huge fucking office in Seattle. They have so many people developing this fucking game. They act like they are an indie development studio that is out of their garage with 2 people working at any point. That is not what's happening. They need to stop acting like they're a victim. They are a legendary development studio. Be that legendary development studio.
Yeah.
So Beyond Light, it's my least favorite expansion. I have played it to death so far. I like what I have gotten myself into. There is no content though. And once people immediately took off the rose tinted glasses, people started seeing the cracks, and we were all noticing that there is literally nothing to do in the fucking game.
Right.
So, Bungie, fix that shit.
Bungie, please.
My least favorite game overall. That is a game, an actual release.
I figured you'd probably say Legion.
Sorry?
I said I figured you'd probably say Watch Dogs Legion.
Legion sucks ass, yeah, but I mean...
Not the worst you've played this year?
To be honest with you, I still forget that name. We were talking about it the other day, and I still can't remember what the fuck it's called, even though you had said the name.
What kind of game was it?
It's like Dark Souls. It released on Epic before Steam. It was an easier version of Dark Souls. Mortal Shell. I liked where they were going with it. There is not much to do in that game. That game doesn't have as much replay value as people think.
Yeah,
it's basically maybe like maybe like a 2-game new game plus type of thing, and you're out. It doesn't have the same. You can tell that it wears its influences on its sleeve, and that's about it. It doesn't do anything for itself. As far as I know, there's no expansion content. The game just kind of expected people to give it its dues because it's a Dark Souls game, and we haven't had that in a while. And you're telling people to make their own Dark Souls game, and look what happens.
Literally made their own Elden Ring game.
So it's...
Or like a demo for it.
I think if they expand on it, I will change my tune. But as far as I'm concerned, the game doesn't have anything going for it. I got rather bored of it after a couple of bosses in. I was like, yeah, it's whatever.
I really like the idea of like the shells and whatnot, and I think the environments are pretty interesting from what I've personally seen.
Oh, they look amazing. They look beautiful.
And I think they actually did add in like a little baby thing. I use this as an adjective. A little baby thing to like after release, but no, I haven't heard about any expansion or anything like that. Regardless of anything, I was slightly interested in it, but the fact that it was an Epic Game Store exclusive, it was like no.
And that was the only reason I had bought it on Epic Games, was because I thought that it was coming out that day. I was correct. What I was not correct about was me being able to play it on Steam. I
think I actually thought that too for like a hot minute.
But it was like it was something I really wanted to play because it was the only Dark Souls-esque thing I was going to be able to play this year that was recent in development.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy what I got.
That's kind of, again, that's surprising considering, I mean, how fucking broken Watch Dogs is.
Dishonorable mentions to Watch Dogs Legion. Ubisoft, fuck you, but you did right by me by releasing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Dishonorable mention to Remnant from the Ashes, subject something expansion.
That seems fun, and like oh my god, it needs to come down in price more. It needs to come down in price more before I play it.
The game. The game is amazing. The expansion did not do it any service. I think the game is completely and insanely fun. I liked what I got myself into with the expansion, same as Beyond Light. It did not do the game justice, though. Because Remnant from the Ashes kind of just slipped under people's radar. It was like, oh, look at this fucking... It's Dark Souls, but shooty.
Right.
And after that, nobody had talked about it. It just fell under the radar. I think that is partially due to the fact that Remnant from the Ashes is being published by Drum roll, please. It is being published by Perfect World. Perfect World, eat my ass.
What did they do?
Gargle on these balls.
What else did they make?
Perfect World. You may remember some of these games. Torchlight 3. That game released this year. It went so far under. Perfect World. Fuck you. They published Neverwinter. Perfect World. Fuck you. They had destroyed that outfit. Star Trek Online. Supposed to be really fucking good. Did not make it. Blacklight Retribution, one of my favorite free-to-play first-person shooters to have ever released. It is no longer available. Perfect World had fucking obliterated that outfit, which what is now called Hardsuit Labs. I have no idea what they are working on currently. I hope it's something.
I feel like Hardsuit's part of the opening for Killing Floor 2, isn't it? Oh, fuck. I remember playing Blacklight. Oh, I forgot about this game completely.
It was back when Unreal Engine 3 had... They're working on Vampire the Masquerade. Oh my god. Okay, alright. Hardsuit Labs, please don't fuck it up. I miss you. Please come back.
Yeah, I thought
oh, fuck it. They're all behind it. I thought it was Paradox. I thought it was Paradox working on it. No, Hardsuit Labs, don't fuck it up, please. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh god, he's stressed.
Oh no. I have to watch this development now. Oh. Help me. The yeah, but Perfect World can actually be in a relationship with my left nut while simultaneously having a affair with the right. Fuck you. Also published Gigantic. Really good game. Went under. Because they decided to make it a Xbox exclusive and thought it had a leg to stand on. So, Perfect World. Eat a dick.
Yeah, and who could forget that Bethesda multiplayer hardcore parkour game? What the hell is it called? You know the one I'm talking about. This was like in 2012. The hell was it?
We're actually searching up Bethesda parkour games.
Brink!
Oh, Brink, dude.
Where's my Brink 2 sequel? Oh god, no, 2011 in May.
I think that was more just Bethesda being an asshole than because Splash Damage went to work on a game that was the spiritual successor to Brink because Bethesda didn't want to put out. They put out Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb was my second favorite free-to-play FPS because Blacklight had ended. And for every game that I have seen, Dirty Bomb seemed to be the fairest in terms of its monetization. The only thing I was worried about is that their publisher was Nexon. Nexon doesn't have too good a reputation for free-to-play games.
Yeah, I remember hearing about Dirty Bomb. That sounds barely familiar.
It didn't have a leg to stand on. It lasted all about 2 or 3 years. Well, no, actually lasted quite a bit of time. 2013 to 2017. It's just that it had an initial release date of 2015 to when it was actually considered out of early access or its beta. So you figure 2-3 years on that. I played it during its alpha. I liked what I got myself into, came back to it when it was fully released. And after that, the game had just basically ended. Splash Damage went on to work on Gears Tactics, which is XCOM, but Gears of War.
Yay.
And It has a pretty good rating. It's just that it's not actually a Gears of War game because it's XCOM and Gears of War. My favorite indie game that cannot be Hades, and I'll throw this to you. I really liked Waifu XCOM.
Oh. Favorite indie game for this year or for this year?
For this year, yes.
That released this year, yes?
That released this year. Favorite indie.
I don't know. Oh wait, no, that's easy. Phasmophobia. Oh fuck yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. As you said, best ghost game ever made.
Ever fucking made.
Oh, I didn't mention my my least favorite game that I played this year.
Oh good.
I actually almost forgot the subtitle for it. Amnesia Rebirth.
Amnesia Rebirth, I still haven't
It was
beat it.
It was more about the story and less about like the horror. It was like, I understand. I was kind of invested in the story, but I think once I got to this one building with this like humanoid looking sapphire blue glowing like monster man, I think that's when I realized like, oh, I'm not actually gonna like die. I'm not in any danger because it keeps jumping through the same hole to jump scare me, and then that's it. Huh.
You just expected them to return to form after Machine for Pigs, which it wasn't even them that did it.
Yeah.
So it was just like, all right, so we're actually going to get a fucking Amnesia game. We're actually going to come back to...
Yeah.
What was the game they worked on prior? Because I used to like that series.
That's a good question. That was Frictional.
Frictional, yes.
I don't remember seeing... Oh, wait, no, it was Soma. That's what they did last.
They did Soma.
Yeah, they did Soma.
Soma kicked ass.
Yes.
What was the series prior to Amnesia though? Like, what did they work on?
That would it be? I know the subtitle for the one, but hang on, I have it. My Steam games. Oh, Penumbra.
Penumbra.
Yeah, that was their kind of start point in like horror.
What was your favorite?
Of what?
Penumbra.
Oh, Black Plague, without a doubt.
Yeah,
that's everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's just a classic horror game right there.
Oh, definitely. No, I wanted to go back to that at some point. I was thinking of doing that this past Halloween, but it didn't happen. Yeah. Yeah. The last game in the series for Penumbra, what was it? Is it Conviction or it was something?
Necrolog.
Oh no, Requiem.
Requiem.
Yeah, Penumbra Requiem. That was the last in Necrolog?
Penumbra Necrolog came out in 2014.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah.
Total conversion modification for the game Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Penumbra Necrolog is a community-made mod interpreting the continuation of the Penumbra series. So, yeah, it's not even
canon. It's
not even canon.
Not even canon. That's 9 out of 10.
Man.
Yeah.
Now, Requiem was it was too like puzzle oriented. Like I liked towards the end of it, like what it was. And I thought the game ended fairly well. For being a horror title. But no, Requiem just had way too many puzzles. I had to at several points like look up the solution. It got like too obscure, I felt. But now Amnesia Rebirth had some good things going for it. I felt like the environments were, well, they were okay, I guess. They were okay, but like interesting, if that makes sense. They were interesting to look at, but not like wow, this is amazing.
I don't like how the game pulls you out to kind of just tell you stories that you weren't experiencing. Like I don't like that. Like the scenes where you're suddenly having this memory of a time when you had the baby. And it's like, okay, I understand what you're doing here. I have not experienced this.
Amnesia.
I have no, yes, but I have no actual there's no reason why I couldn't just like read about this, but instead you're forcing me to live through this event to stop the flow of the game so I could experience this. And I don't like that. I think there could have been a better way to do it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think the best thing that the game had that I had played of, because I got to the point in which I was just describing with the blue glowy monster, and like you had to use a broken down tank to blow open a door. I think the best thing that actually like got me was the fact that the main character was pregnant. Like I started noticing after this one sequence that like I was like, does my character look bigger? And yes, she was actually pregnant. She remembered. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm pregnant. Fuck." And it's like you can see as you start to go through some of the areas, her stomach starts getting slightly more bigger. And like I think towards the end of the game, from what I had heard, she starts to move slower.
I think that was more due to the fact that the plane had crashed and you're just trying to get the fuck out.
Well, no, the end of the game.
Oh, I haven't gotten to the ending. Don't
well, neither have I. Like, I said, let me again. I said, I think from what I had heard, she starts to move slower towards the end of the game.
Spoiling the fucking adventure.
I'm spoiling the walk speed.
Oh my god! Now I know.
And knowing is not even half the battle.
Well, on that bombshell. I guess this is a good time to end it, man.
Yeah, what are we at? Like almost 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Thank you to everybody that had listened. Now, if you would like to shell out some stuff. People are popping fireworks.
As I said at the beginning of the stream, you can find me on Twitch at Malistrom and on Twitter at Malistrom. I'm very simple. I keep the same name. That's my stuff.
That is your stuff.
Where can they find you?
Same bat channel, man. Same bat place. Same bat time.
Oh god, we didn't even think about an outro.
Oh, there's no outro to this. What are you talking about? Stay safe, everyone. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.